So Vital and I are going to collaborate on what we call Project Magoo. And Magoo is the name of the village that he's from originally. And what we're going to do is we're going to leverage online education to provide scholarships and full access to all business and personal development courses to 100 students in his hometown. And Vital's story is so inspiring. He inspires me so much. Do you want to share your story?
So the story is how I grew up in that village called Magoo. So it's a village with no access to electricity, no access to internet, no access to infrastructure. And I got a chance to go to study primary, secondary, and university. And so many kids in my age mate, they didn't get a chance to get that education. And so when we met Chris, because he's so much passionate about education, and so I was sharing with this my story with him, and he asked me one question like, if you would be given time, what would you do? What are you passionate about? So I shared that my passion is to give back to that village specifically, because I know that they don't have access to that high quality education. And so that's how the idea came, like, okay, giving back to that village through education. And so that's the background. And so I grew up in that village and went to university and made it to university, to master's degree in Germany, and I have just a heart to give back to that village.
Together, we believe that every problem in the world can be solved with a combination of education and technology. And we're going to make it happen together. And we're going to create a blueprint, a business plan, so to speak, based on Project Magoo, so that anybody in the world can apply what we've learned to provide online education to every student in the world.
Even in those villages like mine.
Good morning and welcome to our 119th weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way the call works is this is an AMA, meaning you can ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, personal questions, career questions, etc. And within 24 hours of this call being completed, what my staff does is they go into the description field of this video and they enter in all the questions asked at all the times they've been asked at, so you can click on them and get immediate access so I can save you time. So Happy New Year to all of you. This is our first call of the year and I hope you're all doing well. And I'd love to hear some of your New Year's resolutions. For me, I have a number of them, which I broadcast on my YouTube channel a couple of days ago. Another one I want to mention is I want to be able to consume a lot more water. And this is ridiculous, I know. But we are 80% water. And one of my biggest problems is I never consume enough water. I've tried apps to remind me. I've tried everything. So I resorted to this. It's just a cheap product I bought on Amazon, which has a gallon of water. And I have to finish this each day before I go to bed. So anyway, hold me to it, please. Yeah. I look like an idiot with this, but that's okay. Laugh at me, not with me. All right, let's kick it off with Dario. Dario wrote here, Chris, hope you had a great Christmas holiday. I've seen your, and let me just make the font size a little smaller. I've seen your video on the beach with your family, and now I think even more than ever that you are a really well-rounded person. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I'm trying to be. I'm really working on a diet this year, as well as a number of new biohacks. And a little shout out today to Rose Luck, who's one of my amazing platinum MBA degree students that graduated last year. She started this charity with a friend where every dollar raised from selling T-shirts will go to building schools in Africa. A different charity from mine, which is Project Magoo, but hers is awesome. And she inspires me, so I bought her a shirt, and I'm wearing it. Rose, if you're watching, hope all is well, and God bless you for everything you do. Okay, next up, Dario is saying, professionally and personally, you're a model on, oh, thank you, on how to approach life. Thank you for your example. Please, I've made so many mistakes in my life. And as Michael Jordan says, and I've got my favorite quote down there from MJ, I failed over and over again in my life. And that's why I succeed, or at least that's why Michael Jordan succeeds. Yeah. But I wouldn't have made it humbly to where I am in life without a lot of help from mentors. And so I pride myself on understanding that business is about relationships first and product knowledge second. I've got this book here called Networking to Get Customers, a Job, or Anything You Want. You can go to my website to get it for free. It'll help you a lot in business, I promise you. And it's free. It's free. Yeah. Yeah. We all need Yodas in order to reach our full potential in life, and I'm still trying. Thank you. Thank you for that comment, Dario. And then Dario said, speaking of cryptocurrencies, as you know, the crypto world is extremely volatile during these days. But what do you think long-term about Ripple's condition concerning the SEC investigation? Yeah, I've been getting that question a lot lately. So for those of you not familiar with Ripple, it's a cryptocurrency. The ticker is XRP, and it's been targeted mainly at the financial services sector, which is unfortunate because you'd think that if that is the focus of it, that they would be compliant and within the bounds of the law from an SEC perspective. I don't know the full story. I know what you know, which is basically that the management team has been selling a lot of cryptos and not really disclosing that as well. One of the big problems with cryptocurrencies is that they're not regulated by governments. They're regulated by the laws of mathematics. And because there's not much government regulation in most countries for cryptocurrencies, there's a lot of manipulation that can unfortunately occur. Now, I pride myself on teaching my students, how to fish instead of providing you with a fish. And I have a course called the Complete Cryptocurrency Course, which provides you with 49 steps to research a cryptocurrency so that you can create a commensurate investment right up to an S1 document. Always do your own research. Obviously, never rely on me or anybody else because nobody is smarter than you. But you really have to do your own work in order to understand that. And I just got started here with a new camera. Give me 1 second. I'll share with you the on-screen here. What you can see there in the 80, see where it says 80 there, like Ghostbusters? That means I'm not overexposed. I thought I was a little bit, but we're good to go. Okay, anyway, I'll throw this over here. Turn off the on-screen here. Yeah, but always do your own research. Take my course, the Complete Cryptocurrency Course. You can take it on Udemy, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. I humbly believe it's the best cryptocurrency course out there. And I'm not an arrogant guy at all, but it breaks my heart to see so many people losing a fortune with cryptocurrencies. I know Bitcoin's been going up a lot lately. Now's not the time to buy, in my humble opinion. You got to buy when everyone else is freaking out. But I pride myself on doing research and helping my students. When I made the Complete Cryptocurrency course, I worked so hard on it. I dedicated 6 months of my life to it. I even flew to Prague in the Czech Republic to rent a data center to film the promotional trailer, which you can check out online. But I was a 7 out of 10 positive on cryptos when I started that course. And by the end, I was a 3 out of 10 positive because I think most cryptocurrencies are a scam. And I think a lot of people are going to go to jail for pumping and dumping. You see it on YouTube all the time. In fact, I get most of the comments I get on my cryptocurrency videos online. I never see them because YouTube stops them because there are people trying to scam other people by providing their phone number, their email address, etc. So always do your own research. Last thing I'll say is that I thoroughly researched cryptocurrencies to the extent that I even hired a consultant to read through my entire script for the 27-hour course or however long it was. This guy was so good, and this is crazy. I'm mentioning what I'm going to mention right now. But what happened was after I published the course, I got a knock on my door from the NSA. And at first I was like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I was kind of scared. But this dude came in, he was very nice, and he was doing a reference check on somebody that I had hired to proofread all my slides and every single word I mentioned in my course. And he didn't say why he was doing that check, but I'm pretty sure it's because the NSA wanted to hire this person. As we all know, the NSA, a national security agency in the United States, was the one that came up with the SHA-256 algorithm, or a version of that, so to speak, which is the basis for the secure protocol for a lot of cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. You can take my course, the Complete Cryptocurrency course, to learn more about that, and thank you. Okay. Next up, let's see, I got a question here from Dario saying, thank you always for your transparency and intellectual honesty. You're most welcome. And a lot of you are thinking, Chris, you're crazy to be that honest about the NSA coming to your door, but I'm fully transparent. Yeah. Okay. Next up, we got Manas from India, who's saying, bonne nouvelle à Monsieur Haroun. Merci beaucoup. Je veux faire le grasse matinée ce matin. Ici, c'est mon petit déjeuner, which means little lunch. Great to see you, man. Great to see you. And then you wrote here, hope this year is giving you the opportunity to enjoy with your family and friends. Yeah. And I'm spending a lot more time with my family this year. Last year, I worked so hard. I've never worked that hard in my life. We published an MBA degree program with 3 versions, silver, gold, and platinum, with over 300 hours of live or brand new content that I recorded, and well over 500 hours for the platinum version. And so I certainly burned the midnight oil. I aged. So I'm trying this year to work on anti-aging. I'm using certain technologies. I'm biohacking with lasers and stuff. Not going under the knife, obviously, but hopefully by the end of the year, I'll look a little bit younger. But if you look at my first webcast versus today, 119, I have aged. But I'm working my best to reverse aging, and I know you can't do that. People say you can only slow it down, but if and when I figure this out, I'll let you know. I'm also trying to put on 20 pounds of muscle. I work out with my son every day, Andrew, usually around 2:30 or so. And if I figure out how to put on that 20 pounds of muscle, I'll also tell you guys how I did that. Now, my target for putting on 20 pounds, and I know I'm such a loser here, 20 pounds of muscle is going to be on my 50th, by my 50th birthday, which is February 2nd of 2022. If I figure out how to do it and how to reverse aging, etc., I will share with you all of my secrets. But I am trying a number of cray-cray new biohacks that hopefully work. I'm sure I'll make an idiot of myself like I usually do. But I am taking chances. I am taking risks like I always do in my life. But I'm spending Wednesday and Fridays with my family. So I'm working Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays now. So, yeah. How long can I keep that up? I don't know. But we'll see. I love doing what I'm doing. Yeah. All right. And then Manas is saying, I have a truck full of questions, and I'll try to ask them to present themselves before you. By the way, I mailed Udemy and got to know that you can upload videos bigger than 20 minutes, but should be 4 gigabytes. Yeah. So the rule on Udemy is that, well, they tell you that you should try to have each video being 20 minutes or less, which I completely agree with. I like bite-sized content. With all of my books, I like short chapters, which I learned from Roald Dahl when I read James and the Giant Peach when I was a kid. Less is more. There's a reason why Twitter is successful. If you do more than 20 minutes, I think sometimes they'll let them pass, but not by much more than that. They're trying to help you. And there is a 4 gigabyte limit as well per lecture size. Now, everything I do and almost all my courses and my entire MBA degree program, all of those programs, I've recorded in 4K with mini camera angles. What everybody sees though is actually just 1080. But I future-proofed everything for when the whole world goes 4K or 8K, whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then Manas wrote, greetings from my side. My course number 4 is OOT, as you say in Canadian. I'm glad you're learning. You guys are learning how to say out properly. It's not out. It's OOT. That's how we say it in Canada, and that's just correct English. Yeah. OOT in a boot. Okay. It's not house, it's house. And if I go up on top of my house, I go on the roof. Okay, that's just, one more thing, it's process, not process. Okay, this is Canadian English, and this is the way the whole world should speak. Okay. If I can't laugh myself, I take life too seriously, right? Okay, so your 4th course is out, and you said it's called Canva Master Course. And yeah, excellent. You said, please give your valuable feedback on that. I'd love to help. I'm so sorry. And I did sign up for one of your other courses. I'll try to do it later. Send me a message over LinkedIn. I'll take a look. Thank you. Okay. Next question is, what are your New Year's resolutions? Well, for me, as I mentioned in a vlog, I'll keep this brief, I promise you, because I mentioned it before, is to put on 20 pounds of muscle. By February 2nd of 2022, when I turn 50. Yeah. So there's that diet as well. I'm trying to slow down or reverse aging. I'm trying a lot of new experimental things, which I'll only talk about if I'm successful with them, which I probably won't be, but I'm going to try anyway. Also, spend more time with family, of course. Yeah, and meditation and breathing exercises. I'm trying that as well. And then Manas wrote, for me, it's reading 200 books this year. Awesome. Learning crypto and game development, teaching 100,000 students. That's my favorite one. And more. And by the end of the year, getting the golden shield from YouTube. Oh, cool. I didn't know that's what they called it. Cool. Sounds crazy, but I'll try everything. I love that, Manas. I love how ambitious you are. And as James Cameron, a fellow Canadian, and the director, writer of Titanic, Avatar, etc., said, he said, if you set your goals really, really high and you fail, you still fail above everyone else's expectations. I love it. I believe you, and I believe in you. Okay. All right. Next question is, your website domain authority is 7. Really, really low. Why is that? And then you wrote, I think you need to work on your keyword strategy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Authority is 7. Thanks. Yeah, there are services that will rank how your website is doing and whatnot. I don't pay attention to any of them at all. Yeah. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. Okay. Next up, Manas is saying, thanks for being my mentor, for always being with us. This is my 37th webcast with me. Thank you. But always feels like day one and not one day. Thank you. Then you wrote, stay hungry, stay foolish, and just be yourself. That great quote from Steve Jobs. Thank you. And I love those emojis. Those are my favorite emojis in the world. Thank you, and God bless you. Way, way more. All right, next up we have Usama from Jordan, who's in my Platinum MBA degree program. He's an awesome guy. Yeah. And Usama wrote, hi, Chris. Sorry to hear about what happened last night. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know we shouldn't talk about politics, but what happened was shameful. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up because we have to discuss it. You wrote here, one question though, how come the Dow was moving up yesterday? Yeah. So the market can stay irrational longer than we can all stay solvent. I love to be a long-term investor. And not try to trade the market and whatnot. And I like to buy when everyone else is freaking out, which means not right now. Yeah. The same thing with cryptocurrencies. I love to buy when everyone's freaking out because if you buy a stock or a crypto that everybody already loves, who's the incremental investor to push it higher? There aren't as many. Yeah. But yesterday broke my heart, man. You're seeing democracy falling flat in its back. And the past year's been tough for me. From just a political and ethics perspective, because for my entire life, since I was a baby, born in 1972, I am that old, the whole world has been moving closer and closer to capitalism and farther away from communism. And I remember, or I read about it at least when I was a baby, I read about Richard Nixon going to China before he got Heisman from The Office for not being a criminal. Remember that speech? But unfortunately, the world seems to be moving a little bit more left wing, and I think one of the reasons is because of COVID. We're all in this together, and I definitely do believe in wearing masks and all that stuff. But there are some governments that I humbly believe, and I'm not going to go into any examples because I don't want to offend anybody. But there are some governments that are being a little bit too authoritarian when it comes to policing their citizens and making them not be able to go outside, etc. I just hope that people will get their freedoms back. I'm not going to mention which countries I'm talking about in general, but it does break my heart. But what happened yesterday, and if you're watching a replay of this, today is the 21st or the 7th of January 2021, and happy Orthodox Christmas to my dad. My dad is Orthodox from Egypt originally, and anybody celebrating Christmas today. But what happened yesterday on January 6th was disgusting. I'm in utter shock that it was allowed to happen. That the security protocols in this nation's great capital weren't there, and what makes me more disgusted is I believe in peaceful protesting, of course, and everybody's opinion should be heard, and that's one of the beautiful freedoms in this country. But what disgusted me was the violence, of course. But what disgusted me the most was to see that flag. And I think you all know what flag I'm talking about. A flag that can be misinterpreted. And I think that those that were protesting really shot themselves in the foot too. Because the whole world saw just violence and that disgusting flag. And I won't go into more detail on what flag that is. You can read between the lines to understand what I'm talking about there. But I was disgusted. And I think that Twitter and Facebook did the right thing by blocking that politician's Twitter account. But I don't think it should just be for one day. I think it should be much, much longer than that. Maybe permanently. I don't know. But I do believe in this system. I believe in America. It's one of the reasons I live here, and I'm proud to be here. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in everything the Constitution stands for. Yesterday was absolutely heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. Yeah. So yeah, but thanks for bringing it up. I know we have to mention it, and we all know that we have to be like Gandhi, and nonviolence makes the most sense when it comes to protesting or disgusting. And God bless that woman who's in the Air Force. I heard she passed away. I don't know much about her story, but yeah. And then Heng Jinny, who's one of my amazing platinum students from Vietnam, is saying, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Just dropping by to say hi and have a wonderful webcast. You're an amazing mentor. Thank you. God bless you. And I've learned so much just by watching you and networking with others within the MBA program. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Heng Jinny. I appreciate that. God bless you. God bless you. And Heng Jinny and I are also going to be making a version of the school that Vital and I are making in Rwanda. Yeah. And for those of you that aren't really sure what this is here, I'm wearing. Let me change the contrast a bit. See if you can read a bit better. It says this shirt funds a school. It's called Project Fruitful Standard. It's from one of my amazing platinum students that graduated last year, Rose Luck. She and a friend of hers started this charity. They sell T-shirts. And it funds different schools that they're making also in Africa. So God bless Rose. And Jenny, what we'll do is once I figure out with Vital how to build multiple schools this year, that's right, multiple schools this year in Rwanda, And once I make many, many mistakes, then what we'll do is we'll take the blueprint, and I'd love to partner with you and anybody really to make schools also in Vietnam. But let me make a lot of mistakes first, because I will. I always do. Okay. And thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Next up, Nishant's got a question saying, "Hey, Chris, hope you're doing great. Likewise. Our last class on entrepreneurship was so inspiring. Thank you. Thank you." And Nishant is referring to a class we did on Tuesday. It was our first entrepreneurship class of the year, where we study a lot of the best entrepreneurs and how they do it, and how they did it, and how they'll continue to disrupt their industries and make a dent in the universe. And I pride myself on humbly teaching based on successful entrepreneurs, and not ever based on theory. So that was a lot of fun. And then you wrote, "I revisited the class replays, and the class had priceless advice. Thank you very much for that. My pleasure. And thank you for being a part of it as well. Thank you. Thank you." All right, cool. And then next up, we've got Melody, who's a teacher and from Atlanta. She's awesome. And she's been on this webcast every single week since October 31st, 2019, when we did our 9.5 hour long webcast. And you came on that day. I remember that was a lot of fun. She's also a gold subscriber to my MBA degree program. She's great. So Melody wrote here, "What procedures do you think the United States will need to implement to not repeat yesterday's events?" Yeah. I mean, I'm in shock that it even happened. I really am. You'd think that the FBI would have been, more cautious, and I think they do a great job. And why do I think the FBI does a great job in general? Because we haven't had any repeat of 9/11. And God bless them, because I'm sure, I don't know anything, I never do, but I'm sure that they've actually stopped a lot of events like that. But I'm shocked that it slips through the cracks of law enforcement in general. I just think more police officers or more security officers on the ground, protecting the beautiful freedom, the blanket of freedom that we live beneath, around all of our government buildings in general. Yeah. So, and if you ever see a government building, you'll notice that, like the Federal Reserve here in San Francisco, there's a lot of flower pots outdoors. And the reason they do that is so no trucks can get close to it for obvious reasons. And there's cameras everywhere too. But I just think just hiring more security officers would make sense. Yeah. But people should always be allowed to peacefully protest, of course. Yeah. But it breaks my heart. Breaks my heart to see democracy falling flat on its back. One data point doesn't make a trend, though. So hopefully this is it. Yeah. And there's enough these hooligans, these pricks that did this. Their faces are on every major television program anyway now. The government's going to go after them and prosecute them, and yeah. So they really shot themselves in the foot. I believe in peaceful protest only, and what disgusted me was the flag they were carrying. All right. And more. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Albus. Hey, Albus. Hope all's well. Is saying, "Chris, Elon Musk has overtaken Jeff Bezos to become the world's richest person. What's your take on this, along with the future of Tesla? Anything you'd like about the company? Would love to hear." Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed that Tesla sold close to 500,000 cars last year. Absolutely blows me away. Elon Musk is, this guy is the true Renaissance man when it comes to entrepreneurship. He inspires me a lot. He's outspoken, which I respect a lot. It's amazing. My gut is that Bezos will probably pass him again soon. I think that a lot of people are just hyping up Tesla because of the 500,000 car stat. But I think Amazon is so damn powerful. So powerful that I think what's going to happen is after this COVID situation is done, I think that the antitrust Department of Justice is going to break up Amazon into at least two companies. One is their software and media empire like Amazon Web Services, Prime, etc. The other one is going to be just traditional online shopping, Amazon. Yeah. And I think those two companies as independent entities will have market caps combined that is greater than Amazon itself right now. Yeah, and I think that the government's not going after Amazon right now, partially because of COVID. And God bless all the Amazon delivery people. I think they've done an amazing job. But I think once COVID is behind us, Amazon will be split into two companies. And both those independent companies, longer term, will be worth much more than what core Amazon is worth today. Yeah. And God bless the EU, because the EU, what they do is they keep American and all global tech companies in check from a privacy perspective. Yeah. So I think the EU will also want Amazon to break up as well. All right. Next up, got a question from Noman is saying, hey, Chris, Happy New Year. Right back at you. Happy New Year to you and your family. I hope you're all doing well. Okay. And then Guhan, first time I've seen you on the call. I hope you join us again. Thank you. Guhan is saying, hey, Chris, do you offer financial aid? If so, how much for your MBA program? Yeah. Especially a 21-year-old student like me who can't afford. Yeah. So last year, what I did was I saw my business pick up materially in the month of March because of COVID. And so I did a couple things. Number one, all my students that were on payment plans for my MBA degree program, I said, you guys get it free, screw that. And I canceled all the payment plans. And I gave away over 1 million courses as well. So I do give away a lot of stuff. Just look for it every now and then. I'll offer coupons or freebies, that sort of thing. Yeah. But stay tuned, because every now and then I do offer pretty good deals, that sort of thing. Just send me a message on LinkedIn. I'll give it to you for free. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay. Next up, Noman is saying, why do you have courses on both Teachable and Udemy? Yeah. So Udemy is Google and everyone else is Bing when it comes to education technology. So it would be fiscally irresponsible for any human being teaching in the world not to put their courses on Udemy. Okay. Just like everybody searches the internet with Google, you don't use Bing unless you work for Microsoft. Sorry, Microsoft employees. Yeah. Now, when it comes to Teachable, that's where I house. That's Canadian house, not house. That's where I host my MBA degree program and my other courses as well. Yeah. But if you go to my website, you'll see I promote the Udemy courses there up in the menu. But I also promote my MBA degree programs, which are on my platform, which I use Teachables for. Yeah. It's just like saying, let me think about this. Coca-Cola, why do you bother selling at Walmart? Why don't you just, just pretend that Coca-Cola owned 7-Eleven. You would say, Coca-Cola, I see that you sell your products at 7-Eleven, but why do you also sell them at Walmart or Target? Or Carrefour in France, etc. Why do you do that? It's just a good business decision. Okay. All right. And let me see what I have next here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. 1 second. Sorry. And what I've done, let me show you guys what I've done, because I find that sometimes YouTube skips on me when I get a lot of questions at once. And so I have a resolution that I'm going to start using right now. So what I've done is this. So the way that I change camera angles is I use my foot on a pedal, right? So, and it's in order: left, and my foot's pressing it now, center, right. And what happens is when a lot of questions come through on YouTube, and I'm looking right through the screen here at the questions. If I use a mouse, it jumps. Okay, the screen jumps. So what I just did was I'm using the keyboard with this to scroll up and down. The reason why, and you can, it's called kinesis, and you can map which keystrokes like a keyboard. And I put it in this box here. And then what I do is I put a shirt on top, an old sweatshirt. What is this from? Oh, it's my university shirt from years ago. Yeah. But I put this on top so you can't hear the clicks, because it is pretty. It can make a lot of noise. And if you guys want, what you can do is you can use a similar setup for when you're giving a presentation online, and nobody will know you're clicking through the slides. Yeah, that's what I do. That's how I read through the questions. And when I give presentations online, it's what I do. Yeah. And all you need is PowerPoint and a $50 monitor and a mirror. And I can go into more detail on that if you guys care. Oh my God, I talk a lot. All right. Now let me go back here and find out where I was so I can actually use the foot pedal to scroll up and down. So give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. All right, here we go. Okay. Now I'm using my feet to scroll through the questions, and I'll do that for the rest of today instead of the moose. Okay, so the question is from Noman, who's saying, what are the differences between coaching, mentoring, and training? Which ones are you most of the time? Okay, yeah. Coaching, mentoring, and training. Yeah. Wow. God, it's a tough question. They're kind of synonyms. I think the goal of a good teacher, like a good parent, like a good manager, is to create confidence in your students, employees, etc. Okay. And so I think that's kind of a combination of coaching, mentoring, and training. I think it's all the same. I think they're all the same. I do. When I see the word training there, I think of maybe people going online and taking courses on how to code. That's just basic training. But I think all three are intertwined. And the bottom line there is, I think that the primary role of a teacher is to instill a sense of confidence in their students. Because I remember growing up in Canada, and it was in the 80s, and I loved Ronald Reagan and everything he stood for at the time. But I remember that the cover of Time, Newsweek magazine, etc., was the downfall of the American child, and how the American child is 50th in the world in math, 50th in the world in sciences, etc. And this is the fall of the Roman Empire, so to speak, for America. And we hear that every 5 years or so, but it's rubbish, and I'll tell you why. And I didn't realize this until I started teaching live in class here in the United States. And what I'm about to say is not a rah-rah-rah pro-American thing, because 50% of all my students in class at least, and 50% of all people here in the Bay Area that are successful were born overseas. But when I started teaching here in the Bay Area at night in various business schools, I realized that American students, regardless of where they were born, okay, this is not a pro-American thing, but American students are number one in the world in the most important economic category that nobody talks about, which is confidence. And with confidence, you can change the world. With confidence, you can ignore all the naysayers. With confidence, you can sell something as boring and mundane as cloud computing, like Mark Benioff does, who's a wonderful humanitarian. Think about that. Cloud computing is the most boring thing ever. You can't see, feel, or touch it. But Benioff makes it sound awesome because it is. And so I think the most important thing that a coach, a mentor, or a trainer, etc., can instill in their students is a sense of confidence. And as a parent with three boys, and you can see my three sons there, it's crazy but fun. I think the most important thing you can do is, as a parent, aside from getting your kids to be polite, make the world a better place, and be good to God and all that great stuff. But I think the most important thing you can do for your kids as a parent is to instill a sense of confidence. You can do this. You can do this. Don't let anybody else tell you can't do it. And when somebody criticizes you unfairly, all they want you to hear in your mind is, Oh my gosh, you're so damn insecure. You're so insecure for criticizing me unfairly because unjustified criticism is nothing more than a disguised compliment. And if you're not getting criticized, you're not successful. So bring it on. I love criticism, and so should you. The bottom line is a great teacher, coach, etc., should instill a sense of confidence in their students, their children, whatever it is. Because with confidence, you can accomplish anything. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm using my feet to go through, scrolling through. Next question is from Jeffrin here. Tell us more about pre-seed funding and its feasibility. Thanks. Yeah. So for those of you not familiar with seed funding and the term, the way it works in venture capital usually is you start a company and you need a little bit of money. And so a high net worth investor, for example, or an angel investor, will give you a little bit of money, right, to grow that seed. Then a year or two later, when you're successful, you raise more money from a venture capital firm, and that little seed turns into a small plant. And the first time you raise money from VCs, venture capital firms, it's called the A round. Then a year or two later, the B round, you raise more money. The C round, D round, rinse, lather, repeat until IPO is the exit. Now, when it comes to your question on pre-seed investment, the way I interpret that is you yourself funding your own company with a small amount of money initially. And what I have to say about that is it doesn't cost you anything to start a company anymore. The cost of computing continues to plummet. We have all these wonderful software products out there that I used to spend thousands of dollars on that are free now for all of you to start companies. You don't have to be here in Palo Alto in the Bay Area to start a tech company. With COVID, we've proven that we can all create companies and conduct commerce globally. You can be anywhere in the world, and it doesn't cost you a penny to start a company. However, if you want to start a company, I recommend that you write a thorough business plan first, because failing to plan is planning to fail. And you can take my business plan course on Udemy or sign up for my MBA degree program, because during the third semester, we have 5 classes where we go through a venture capital boot camp, where I teach you how to raise money and how to create a great business plan, how to sell it, etc. But if you do need money, I don't recommend using your own. That's right. I want you to raise money from high net worth investors. And I teach you how to do that in my courses and in my MBA degree program. I'm humbled to say that I've managed and raised over $1 billion in my career. And I want you to get high net worth investors to invest in your company. You don't have to give them a majority stake in the company, just a small slice of it. I don't want you to ever get a loan though. Why? Because banks are chicken. And if you're a couple days late paying back a loan sometimes, they can take everything away from you. And talk to a lawyer first before you ever go out and raise money, because they will tell you how to incorporate your company so that you're protected, so that the sharks, meaning the banks or whoever you might owe money to, can't come after you and take away your house. That's how you say in Canada, your house, or your car, or your assets in general. Yeah, and for more, I mean, you could take my courses or my MBA program. I'll teach you a lot more about this, but you can also go to my website, and I've got this top-down camera angle I'm supposed to show you here, and I'm gonna let me actually take you behind the scenes and show you what I have set up here. So, what I'm using here this is called Wirecast, and I teach you how to use this in my MBA degree program too. I also teach you how to use a free version of this called OBS, which stands for Open Broadcast Software. But what I want to do is I want to switch over here so I can show you a top-down view. And you can see it says no signal there, because cameras, DSLR cameras, what happens is they actually turn off. they actually turn off after 30 minutes for tax reasons. There it is there. Let me click another pedal to put a light up there. But what you can do is you can go to my website, which is Haroun, ventures.com, and download this book on networking for free. It's a couple hundred pages plus a few hours of YouTube links. Let me turn off the light there because I'm overexposed. But I think it's really, really helpful because the bottom line is that in business, relationships are always more important than product knowledge. Your network is your net worth. And dude, it took me years to figure that out. I graduated from undergrad and I started working And I look around and, I notice other people are getting raises or promotions faster than me. Well, it's because they're networking. They met with Yodas in their company, and those Yodas kind of helped, or mentors, so to speak. They helped them a lot. And also they ask for raises and promotions. You'll never make CEO without asking over and over again. And a mentor that changed my life, my first manager actually, at Accenture, a brilliant man named Murray Chronic. And he took me under his wing and he mentored me. And I'd be nothing without him. So I want you all to find many, many mentors in the companies you work at, or through friends and family, or just read my free book, get it from my website, harounventures.com, and have at least a handful of mentors or Yodas to guide you along your path. Yeah, people want to help you. All you got to do is ask. Ask and you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Okay. Next question is for Stars. Stars is saying, how has COVID affected online education, Chris? Yeah. So it's helped online education tremendously, to the extent that my business picked up tremendously last March. And rather than being greedy and raising prices, which a lot of people have done, in the month of March, I gave away all my courses for free for a couple days. I had this one little link on LinkedIn. I didn't realize so many people would click on it, but in 3 days, like 1 million people signed up for my courses for free, and Udemy was awesome to be able to have an infrastructure where that worked for them. Yeah, and also with my MBA degree students on my platform, I basically told all of them you get it for free, like any people that were on payments plans last year. I felt guilty that business picked up, and so what I also did was I started donating a lot of money, and I did give thousands away to certain students that needed it. I'm not going to talk about that in more detail. But I also, I donated a ton of money for scholarships. And with Vital, one of my amazing platinum students, we started a project, Magoo, where, and I've given away a ton of money already. We started, and it's not reflected on this website here. But I gave away a lot of money, and Vital and we're building many schools in Rwanda. And this is just I haven't really publicized this, but if you guys want, you can donate a couple dollars to help those that need it the most. Yeah, and this is behind the scenes what I see right here, by the way. Yeah. So right now we have 81 concurrent viewers, that sort of thing. Yeah, cool. 88 now, you can see up here. It's cool. Thank you, everyone, for the support. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. And the way I set the cameras up today, they're slightly off, which is why I have to lean. Usually you can't tell, but because this shirt is like this, I have to lean a little bit. And God bless you, Rose Luck, one of my wonderful platinum students that graduated last year, for making this shirt. Because everyone that purchases this shirt, it goes towards building her schools that she and a friend are making in Africa. Yeah, different charity than the one that Vital and I have. Yeah, she inspires me. All my students inspire me. Yeah. Okay. So, but in terms of the future of education in general, you can go to my YouTube page, and there's a presentation called The Future of Education. And I gave a presentation at a big a Brazilian venture capital event. You can just Google on YouTube. I talk about the future of education for like an hour or whatever it is. Yeah, because of online. Yeah. But I do think that most universities are going to go bankrupt in our lifetime. I really, really do. I think that the top 50 will make it. I think the rest of them, initially they'll dip into their endowment. Then there'll be a Hail Mary rescue pass, so to speak, sorry for the American football reference, where certain alumni will help to bail out schools. But I think a lot are going to go bankrupt because it doesn't make sense to spend $100,000 on a 4-year education where you have 13 hours of class a week and you don't learn anything you can apply in the real world. Yeah. Which is why I started my MBA degree program, because business schools don't teach you the most important skills either. And they're a ripoff. They don't teach you how to sell. They don't teach you how to get a job. They don't teach you how to present. They don't teach you how to start a company. That's right. Ask anybody that graduated from business school So do you know how to start a company now? No. They also don't teach you how to manage your own money. They teach you how to manage other people's money, but not your own. And they're ridiculously expensive. Yeah. With my MBA degree program, you can take it online. There's a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee, and you can learn at your own pace as well. Yeah. And it's always going to be current. And I'll never teach you any bogus theory like other business schools do. 2/3 of HBS is BS. That's Harvard Business School. But you can't say the same thing for Haroun Business School. Maybe you can. I don't know. All right. I'm getting hungry, man. I put a lot of acai in this morning and also blueberries in my shake here. All right. Next up, we got Guhan is asking, what do you think is the scope of financial engineering and quantitative analysis in the finance industry, especially when it comes to big banks and small hedge funds? Yeah. So when it comes to quantitative analysis in general, hedge funds use more risk management metrics than the big banks do usually. So what they do is they look at usually the rate of change of stocks or investments, and that's called beta, which is calculus nerd talk for the rise over the run. That's the only time calculus is going to matter in your life. There you go. That's what beta is. They look at a lot of other metrics as well when it comes to portfolio diversification to make sure that they don't have too much exposure to any one stock, sector, geography, etc. And they also, what they'll do is they'll outsource and they'll rent statistical analysis models from companies like Barra, B-A-R-R-A, for example. Yeah, just to manage risk. So to make sure that they're not too long or too short the market or any particular sector. When it comes to risk analysis for the bigger banks, etc., they'll use a lot of software products. For example, there's a company I used to be an investor in when it was private called Palantir. And so Palantir is a big software company that Peter Thiel was the first notable investor. He was also the first notable investor in Facebook. And Palantir is a software product that will look for patterns in data. And so many of the largest banks in the world use Palantir software to do risk and financial analysis to find out if there's vulnerabilities in their infrastructure from a security perspective. Also, a lot of governments use Palantir software to help solve issues like human trafficking, that sort of thing. And the Obama administration, the only reason they found Osama bin Laden was because they used Palantir software to analyze patterns to find him. Yeah. All right. Next up, I've got, Nishant is saying, you are right. What happened yesterday in the U.S. shouldn't happen anywhere in the world. The world needs a solution to an existing problem, not violence. Yeah, violence is never the answer. Never the answer. And, the way to destroy your cause, so to speak, is through violence. Like, they really shot themselves in the foot, and that disgusts me, and that flag disgusts me as well, that they carried, some of them. Yeah. But, I'm a big fan of Gandhi. Nonviolence works. Yeah. I'm still in shock that it happened. I think you got to go back to 1812 or so, when I was the British burned down the White House or attacked the Capitol. It's crazy. Like, in no one's lifetime, no one on this planet's been alive to have ever seen something like that happen to the U.S. Capitol. Yeah. It just tells us we have to protect this beautiful thing called democracy and capitalism. Yeah. All right. Next up, Noman is saying, will you have a complete, up-to-date networking course for job seekers? Yeah. In my MBA degree program, everything it's state of the art. Yeah. Okay. Next up, we've got, I'm trying to scroll through with my foot here, this pedal. You can see I'm moving up and down. Maybe I'll use the keyboard here. It might be a bit faster. Here we go. Okay, Nikki. Nikki, first time seeing you on the call. I hope you join us again, and welcome. So Nikki is saying, I have 3 questions. Sure. So I'll go through them one by one. Number 1, you wrote here, do you need a license to launch an education academy or course? Yeah. No. Anybody can teach. There are billions of teachers out there. You do not need a license to teach. It's not like being a lawyer or a doctor. Anybody can teach, and everybody has something to teach. And when one teaches, two learn. Yeah. In terms of accreditation, which I'll never do, if you want to, you can call your degree program accreditation. I'll never do it, because if you do that, you have to jack up the price big time, and it's bogus. You got a bureaucratic board that has to tell you what you can and cannot teach, and that's part of the problem, and I want to be part of the solution. Yeah. Then you wrote here, and anybody can teach. Like go to Udemy. Anybody can put a course up there, right? Anybody can, just like anybody can buy and sell stuff on eBay. Yeah. Number 2, do you trademark your company name? I do. Yeah. So what I use, and I'm never going to be a sellout for any product or service. I want to stay pure and transparent always. But I use a company called LegalZoom. There's no kickbacks for me for anything ever. LegalZoom.com. And they're cheap. And what they do is they help you with your intellectual property or any legal matter for that matter. So there's a couple of, let me explain intellectual property really quickly. I'm not a lawyer though, please. So whenever you want to protect the name of a company or a brand, you have to trademark it. Okay. So you file a trademark. When you want to protect the text in a book or the content in a course or the dialogue in a movie or the code in an application, you have to file what's called a copyright. If you want to protect the way you do something, like a patent, which I don't use, I use the 2 aforementioned ones, not this one, then what you do is you file a patent. And the courts are so backed up when it comes to filing a patent, which protects how you do something. They're so backed up that once you file it, you can call it patent pending, which is almost as good as saying patent received, but not quite. Yeah. Your third question is, how do you go about finding investors? Yeah. So as I mentioned before, I've humbly raised and managed over $1 billion in my career. It's all about networking. You know, it's whom you know, not who you know. It's whom you know, not what you know. And you can go to my website and download this book for free on networking. And this will teach you a lot of those skills, but I'll teach you much more in my courses or my MBA degree programs as well. Yeah. All right. Next up, Nishant is saying, Chris, I guess you changed your speakers. Yeah, I changed them yesterday. I use this. I use it's made by Bose. These ones here, and it comes with this thing here, so I can actually I can turn the volume on. So you'll hear an echo if I turn it on. Hold on. Echo. Hello. Yeah. So I turn off this, and this goes louder, or I can turn the volume down. And the reason why I'm doing this, Nishant, is you'll notice that when we did a Zoom call earlier this week, we had one of our students was on the call, and you could barely hear him. So I want this to be handy so I can crank up the volume during those Zoom calls if somebody doesn't have a very loud microphone. And it's wired. You never use wireless whenever you're dealing with speakers and Zoom, that sort of thing, because there's a slight delay, which is why a lot of kids, they love playing video games, but they don't like using wireless controllers. Yeah. So anyway, this is what I use. Yeah. And they go really loud too. Yeah. I'm always trying to push the goalpost out and improve the customer experience as much as I possibly can. Thank you. All right. Next up, Melody is saying, my New Year's resolution is to lose weight. So I started breaking this down into smaller targets for the day, and so far it's going well. Awesome. No. And I think having smaller meals throughout the day helps a lot as well. And that's why a lot of chefs, like there's this misconception that chefs are overweight, like Dom DeLuise. Most chefs are not overweight. Most chefs are actually in good shape. And the reason is because they never have time to sit down for a meal because they're cooking all day. But what they'll do is they'll take little samples here and there of food throughout the day. Those are tiny meals. And if you have smaller meals, I humbly believe that you won't put on as much weight. But I think that the most important thing when it comes to weight loss is carbohydrates, right? So for years people said it was fat because fat has 9 calories per gram, unlike carbs and protein, which is 4 calories per gram. But I think if you cut out complex carbohydrates, like rice, bread, for example, pasta, like it's a good step. Yeah. And exercise. And Melody, you got to get one of these. I got the cheapest treadmill. A couple of my students have bought it actually. Nishant in India bought one, and so did Eileen in Atlanta. But what I do is I have this. And I've showed you guys this before. Underneath here, I have this walker, and I take my chair off and I get my steps in, and I get 10 to 20,000 steps a day easily. Just doing that. And I don't even realize I'm walking, Melody. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm more productive because I'm treating this good, which makes me speak gooder and think better and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay. And next up we have Sunder, who's saying, hi, Chris. Hi, Sunder. Happy New Year, first of all. Would you suggest, likewise, switching to investing and trading, considering layoffs during this pandemic era, wherein a lot of many jobs have vanished? Yeah. So I would never ever quit your job to become a trader. Trading doesn't work, and the market was up a bunch last year, and that's why people did well. It's true. One data point or 1 year does not make a trend, and it's impossible to make money consistently as a trader unless you're a hedge fund breaking the law. And the reason it's impossible is because if you think about it, each month has 20 trading days. That's 20 weekdays. The reason stocks go up and down within 20 days is usually for reasons outside of our control. It could be saber rattling between Riyadh and Moscow regarding, the price of oil. Or it could be saber rattling regarding trade issues between Beijing and DC. So you can't control this sort of thing. Or it might be another company released earnings in the same sector that were good or bad, which move the stock you're investing in. Or it might be some healthcare related press release on a cure for COVID or vice versa, whatever it is, news-wise. You cannot trade and make money. How do I know that? Because we can't name a single trader that's been successful longer term. They don't exist. Yeah. You got to be a long-term investor. Like Warren Buffett said, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. And in my courses and in my MBA degree programs, I teach you how to be a much, much better investor. Yeah, but not a trader. Yeah. It's like going to a casino. If you go to a casino one time, first time you go to a casino, and you win money, you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. I can make a career out of this. That's what trading is. It's very, very dangerous. Yeah. All right. Next up, got a question from Christian, who's saying, hello, Chris. Hey, Christian. Love your courses. I recently bought some of your courses. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support, Christian. Thank you. Okay. And then next up, Albus is saying, Chris, where do you see the world in the next 10 to 15 years? I'd love to know. Yeah. I'm an optimist. I am. And, with crisis comes opportunity. And a lot of companies have kind of realized that working remotely works. A lot of companies, not for all of them. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. A lot of companies have realized that they can do a lot more with less. And they can have their employees much happier because their employees get to work from home and see their families and not spend hours per day commuting, which is good for the environment, not commuting, etc. So I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist. There's a ton of money that's gone into biotech stocks or biotech private companies in the past year or two because of COVID, and even before that. A ton of money going into biotech companies, research, for life extension. So I'm optimistic. I mean, we're living much longer, healthier, happy lives now. And the average age of the life expectancy has gone up 26 years since the 1950s. That means that we are all 26 years younger than we think. And I think many people on this webcast will live to 150. I do. So you're never too old to start again. The average age of somebody starting a company in America, for example, is over 50. If you're 50, you're a kid. You got another 100 years to go. So I'm really, really optimistic. I am. I think great things are going to happen with respect to alternative energy companies as well. I think we're going to be less reliant on the Middle East. That's right. Longer term. Yeah. There's a famous Saudi executive who said that the Stone Age did not end because they ran out of stones. Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Sai. Hey, Sai. How are you? Any comments on GS asset management compared to Biggies? Yeah. So what Sai is referring to, GSAM, he put there in brackets, that's Goldman Sachs asset management. Goldman Sachs asset management. Yeah. They're great. But they're just like any other big mutual fund. Yeah. And I've known a lot of the portfolio managers there and analysts as well, and they've been great. Yeah. I don't know what their performance is, but all the big banks have them as well. Like there's MSAM, which is Morgan Stanley Asset Management. UBS has it. All the big banks have asset management divisions. Yeah. All right. Next up, Guhan is saying, how difficult do you think it is to land a trading job on the street? Yeah, it's hard, and it's going to get harder, and I'll tell you why. The role of trading, right? And I'm not talking about day trading, but just the role of trading is being disintermediated or replaced by technology to the extent that on the buy side at big hedge funds, at least the ones I've worked for in the past, they don't even call them traders anymore. They call it executing trades, which is done a lot of time by computers. Yeah. In the old days, we would call up a broker who would trade a stock for us, right? Now, when it comes to trading floors and you have to create liquidity in stocks, certain stocks, and trade big blocks of shares, you still do need a person on the phone who's a trader / salesperson to help that trade work out. Yeah, I don't think computers will ever replace the role of sales. Yeah. But I would not go for a trading job because they're dying out. Yeah, they're being replaced by technology. Yeah. But what I would do in general is just network aggressively. And you can go to my website and download my networking book here. HarounVentures.com. It'll teach you everything you need to know about networking, or a lot at least. My courses and my MBA degree programs teach you a lot more. But that'll help you because it's not whom you know. It's not what you know. It's whom you know. Yeah, relationships are more important than product knowledge. Always. Yeah. And a lot of people that land at these great firms, they it's not just because they went to these Ivy League bogus schools or whatever it is. That's right. A lot of them got in because their parents too. They get in because they network a lot. There's a lot of examples of it. I mean, there are so many examples of people that have gone from the mailroom to the corner office on Wall Street. That's right. Sidney Weinberg at Goldman Sachs. He no education. He started the mailroom at Goldman. He was a CEO for decades. Every industry has tons of examples. The former president of ESPN started the mailroom. Same thing with the woman who headed up Cosmopolitan. She started in the mailroom. It's true. David Geffen started in the mailroom. You don't need, an education from the top university in the world to get what you want in life. You just have to network aggressively. Yeah. And the beautiful thing is that a lot of companies are realizing this. Like, you don't need a degree to get into Google anymore. You don't. You don't need a degree to get into Facebook. I don't know why you want to work there, but you don't. You don't need a degree to get into Wells Fargo, one of the oldest banks in the United States. You don't need a degree to get into IBM. IBM, the oldest tech company ever. Networking is key. Look, I'm not saying that you should never even think of going to university. I think there's a lot of great universities out there. But don't think just because, you weren't born into aristocracy and your parents went to a great school and your parents bribed university officials, that's how you got in, like we saw with USC. Don't think it's done for you. No. you're going to run circles around them, so you're going to work harder. You're going to network much, much more. And I pride myself on teaching you that stuff or your money back. Okay. All right. Next question. It might be a little bit too dark here. My shirt. I'm trying to figure it out here. Maybe I'll lighten it up a bit here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, if you guys are curious, if you ever have any questions about videography and stuff, let me know. I'm happy to explain all this stuff because I've made every mistake there is to make with cameras and stuff. You want to talk about aperture, f-stop, ISO, all that stuff, let me know. And if you're in my Platinum MBA degree program, what we do is in the 4th semester, I have my wonderful Chief Creative Officer, Matt Lacus, help you all get the best video and audio resolution backdrops at your house, etc., without using any more money. Just use what you have. I am a nerd, though. I know that. Let me turn this down a bit here. There we go. Lower the ISO slightly. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. Next question is, what would you look for in me if you were to be my employer? Yeah. Yeah. So whenever I interview somebody, I always want them to not be interviewing for a job. What does that mean, Chris? Well, I want somebody to be interviewing for something they're passionate about. Because if you see it as a job, you won't be as productive or as happy, and you'll hurt the corporate culture. And that's why a lot of techies, a lot of programmers are so productive. Like the difference between an average software programmer and an excellent one is literally 10x in performance. And the reason is because they absolutely love doing what they're doing. You don't want to hire people that just see it as a job. You want to hire people that are passionate and love doing what they're doing because they'll be more productive and they're more fun to work with anyway. Yeah. So that's what I look for. I look for somebody that's interviewing not for a job, but for something they're passionate about. I also look for somebody that is really easy to get along with. And I tend to I believe in hiring very slowly and firing quickly. The reality is I fire slower than I really should. But I hire very, very slowly. And when I worked at Goldman Sachs, we were to interview people sometimes 40 times before they got accepted. And through 40 interviews, you can tell if somebody is a jerk or a bully. And I do not believe that corporate bullies should be employed. I think if you bully someone in business twice, you're fired, right? First time, one data point doesn't make a trend, but twice you're gone. I despise corporate bullies. I was bullied before when I was a kid and also in big companies. And I want to thank those corporate bullies because they motivated me to get the hell out and start my own company and live my life my own terms. But I don't believe in hiring anybody that's an extreme type A personality because one bad apple we know destroys the whole darn bunch. We know that in school or in business, if we're in a group project, there's one jerk. Stuff doesn't get done. We don't accomplish anything. So I don't like to hire anybody with attitude. That jerk that peaked in high school, who played football, whatever, and you all know who I'm talking about. Yeah. I look for people that get along. And the reason why I love interviewing people, 40 times or whatever it is before they get in, is because you can sense if they're a jerk or not in those interviews. You interview them at breakfast, lunch, dinner, at night, when you go for drinks or whatever it is. If you drink, I don't drink anymore, but I don't drink any less. But anyway, that's what I look for. I love this combination, and I'm fully transparent as always here. I love hiring people that are poor, smart, and hungry. I love hiring people that were given a crappy set of cards in life, that are motivated to work their tail off and become more successful than I am. I love that. I love hiring people that came from a tough background because there's no entitlement and they appreciate it. And there's no arrogance either. A lot of people that get into these great universities, they only got in because their parents went there or because their parents bribed some university official. Yes, some people earn it. I get it. But if you work for somebody that went to Oxford or Cambridge, right, and they feel that they're entitled, get to know them. You'll find out their parents probably went there too. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. All right. And then Rose, how are you? Rose Luck is saying, the shirt looks so good on you. Thanks so much again for supporting. You're most welcome. And this shirt is for Rose Luck, one of my wonderful platinum students that graduated last year. She and one of her friends started a great charity in Africa to make schools, different from Project Magoo, the one that Vital and I have created for Rwanda. But every time you buy a shirt, it funds that. And my camera is tilted a bit today. You guys can't tell I tilted the furniture, and that's why I'm actually sitting on an angle right now because this shirt, yeah, it's a great shirt. Everybody support Rose. Thank you. And just do a search on this. I'm sure you guys will find where you can buy the shirt from. Thanks. God bless you, Rose, and thank you for everything you do. Okay, next up we have Mustafa, who's saying, "Good morning, Chris. Happy New Year to you and your family. Likewise. How do you evaluate index funds?" I usually look at the micro, meaning the underlying assets, expense ratios, etc., and the macro, market cap to GDP, etc. Thanks. Yeah. So the first thing I look for when it comes to index funds is the expense fee. And for those of you not familiar with index funds, it basically means buying a stock that is a collection of other stocks that represents an index. I'll show you what that means right now. So let's go over to Yahoo Finance, and you guys should never, ever pay for any software, ever. Just go or website access when it comes to quotes or anything. Always do your own research, okay? But if we go here to Yahoo Finance and I type in the ticker for the S&P 500, this is an index fund, okay? And what I usually do is I go to profile and I look at the expense ratio, okay? Here it is here. The expense ratio on this is only 0.09%, which is dirt cheap. I always look for less than 0.5%. And we know that the S&P 500 represents 500 stocks that make up the U.S. economy. And let me just go and get my face off of this. Reminds me of hockey. There's a face off. And I'll show you the holdings here. Okay. So the S&P 500, which represents a collection of 500 stocks that is the U.S. economy, consists of these sectors here. The biggest sector is now technology for obvious reasons. Okay, and you can learn a lot about a country by looking at their index funds to see what the breadth and depth is by sector exposure. Okay, then you can scroll down and see what the biggest positions are. Here it's tech heavy: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. This company that I don't like here. This company that I love here. The Google entities, Berkshire, which is basically an insurance company owned by Warren Buffett, J&J, healthcare company, etc. Financial services with JP Morgan. Yeah, so I look for that. I also look for liquidity, right? So you want to make sure that the stock trades a lot, or the index trades a lot, or the ETF trades a lot, so you can get in and out if you need to. And this trades, 71 million shares a day, so we can all get in and out of that pretty quickly if we want to. So that's just an example. But there's other ETFs you can buy as well that aren't indexes. Like there's gold. This is an ETF. So if you want to buy gold, you buy this, GLD. It's very liquid, and the expense ratio is quite low as well. And this is real gold. It's not fake. A lot of people, when they buy gold, they buy gold bars, and they don't really know if it's real or not. So that, in a nutshell, is what I look for. And if you have any other questions about that, please let me know. And thank you as always. Okay. Next up, Hang Jenny, who's one of my platinum students in my MBA program, she's great, from Vietnam, is saying the networking book works like a charm. Chris, thanks for sharing. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Again, you can get this on my website for free, harounventures.com. Thank you. All right, next question I've got here is from Amog, is saying crypto is a centralized currency and its production is transparent, unlike the dollar. Yeah. It all depends, though. It depends, because when you look at paper-based currency, or fiat currency as they call it, like dollars, that's how Canadians say it's dollars. It's not dollars, it's dollars. You can't control how much governments make of that, which is why cryptos exist. It's really unfortunate. It's not fair. We work so hard our entire lives, to make money. And there's an entity called a government that can dilute our net worth by printing more money. It's not fair. It's not fair. Now, cryptos can be like that, right? You got to be careful. when you look to invest in cryptocurrencies and when you do your own due diligence, you have to make sure that there is a limit on the number of cryptos that can be created. That's one of the reasons Bitcoin has been so successful, is because by the year 2140, there will not be more than 21 million Bitcoin. That's when it caps out. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. And people say, well, how can you transact if there's only 21 million? Well, you can slice and dice each Bitcoin into 1/1 millionth of a Bitcoin. They call that Satoshi. But you have to make sure you understand if there's a limit on the cryptocurrency, meaning number that will be created. Otherwise, you might as well just own the biggest loser asset ever, which is traditional paper-based currency. Yeah. And when I went to Israel in 2017, when we were all allowed to travel, I missed those days. My family, we went to Jerusalem, and I bought a coin from the year 30 AD. It has Pontius Pilate on one side. And you might think, oh my gosh, Chris, why are you showing off about that? It must cost a fortune. It didn't. It cost next to nothing. And the reason why the Roman Empire, hundreds of years later, went belly up, is because they printed too much currency. That's why cryptos exist, is because governments print too much money. The bottom line, though, is when you do your research on cryptos, please make sure that there is a limit on the number of cryptos that can be created as part of your due diligence process. Okay. Next up, Vipul, it's been a while. Hope you're doing well, bud. Is saying, good morning, Chris. Hope you're good. Likewise. And then Gamar is saying, have you met Jordan Belfort? I've not. That's the dude from The Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, I've not. Yeah. But I don't respect the fact that he's making money. And I know that he's cleaned up his act, whatever. But I don't think it's fair that anybody that breaks the law should make money by talking about it. Yeah. I don't respect him. Yeah. And he's one of the many criminals on Wall Street. Yeah. All right. And I worked on Wall Street for years, and I never broke the law, but I had friends that did. And I would go visit them in jail. And if you want, I can talk about what that's like, jail for them. And how to be careful and not break the law, etc. But there's a lot of criminals on Wall Street. Not all of them, but there's a lot. Yeah. Nilsa, how are you? Nilsa Santiago is from Puerto Rico. She's one of my wonderful platinum students this year, my MBA degree program. She is awesome. And what I do, as you guys know, is I walk 10 or 20,000 steps a day on my elliptical trainer under my desk here. Okay. What Nilsa does is she rides a bike on her desk all day long. It's awesome. She's in incredible shape. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. And the first time I met you, Nilsa, was on an Open House Webcast in the fall of last year. You were going like this. And I was so tempted to ask you if you were riding a bike or not. But thank you. Yeah. And hold on one second, guys. I'm going to show you how to... My face is shiny. I'm going to show you how to fix that for all of you that do webcasts. Okay, hold on. Keeping it real. All right. So the way that you stop your face from being shiny on a webcast, and a lot of guys, you'll appreciate this. And I learned this from, I think it was Eileen Deo Gracias. She's got the best last name ever. It means thank you, God. One of my platinum students from last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get rid of that shine on your face. Okay. Especially because a lot of us we're going to be spending more times doing Zoom meetings for the rest of our lives than in-person ones. And we have lights and stuff. And everybody on TV, by the way, they have makeup on. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So what I'll do is I have to turn on this camera here. Okay. And there's a stupid European law that if you have a camera on for more than 29 minutes, what will happen is it'll stop working. And the reason is because taxes are higher on cameras. Taxes are a lot higher on cameras. There we go. Good. There we go. Good. Okay, right. Taxes are higher on cameras if they're on for more than 29 minutes because of European tax laws. Too much information. All right. So here's what you do to get rid of the shininess on your face. Okay. And it's a bit more shiny because I'm in the light here. But I ordered this product on Amazon. You can get a lot of knockoff versions of it. I'll show you exactly what it is. Okay. This is called oil control film. And this works like a charm. and it gets rid of the oil on your face. And all it is basically, it's just like 100 little sheets like this. Looks like blue paper. And you rub it on your face to get rid of the oil. It's so simple. And this way, guys, you don't have to use makeup and all that stuff. So let me show you how this works. Okay, and let me get a closer up here. So all you do is you take it, and I've got the biggest nose ever, which is great for skiing. It's aerodynamic. You're all jealous of my nose. I know that. Yeah. Thanks, Dad. I love you. No. So you go like this, and it will get rid of all the oil. So it's a little bit less shiny. Yeah. And then here as well. I look cray now. There you go. See how it's getting rid of it? A little bit less shine, a little bit less. Not perfect. Not perfect. All right. Yeah. And that's it. It kind of works. Let's see here from the angle on this side here. Before and after, a bit. Okay. That works. It's better, right? It's not perfect. You just you wipe it everywhere. Like on TikTok, wipe. Except the person's beautiful afterwards. I'm not. Yeah. So that's how we do it. Yeah. That's my daily makeup lesson. Please click the down arrow if you didn't like that. I'll be okay. All right. So Neil is saying, I enjoyed your family video on the beach. Thank you. I posted that on YouTube a couple days ago. We were down in Southern California, Newport Beach. And I could tell I just lost 10 viewers. I'm down to 71 now. I was at 100 a couple minutes ago. I'm down to 71 because I did that. I can see in real time the feedback. Yeah. And then Nilsa wrote, blessings for your family and all your students. And then you wrote, I'm looking forward to our MBA classes. Thank you. And how is Project Magoo? Project Magoo is going great. It's going great. Yeah. So we just we uploaded a course to Udemy that Vital created. It's the French version of an entire MBA in one course. He made it over 24 hours, and it's online there. It's online. So we've got rid of a couple of the kinks in it. My team is amazing. Doug and Matt Lacus for doing a great job editing it, etc. So it's there. We're generating money from it, which is awesome. Every penny goes to building schools in Rwanda, and every penny we raise, I match. And I hope to raise a lot of money and personally go bankrupt. Yeah, it's going well. Thank you. All right. Although it is tougher to break ground in, like we're trying to purchase the land, and because of COVID, it's gotten pushed back a bit. But we're trying, and I'm supposed to have one school done by now. I'm actually going to have two by the end of the year because of that. Yeah. All right. Oh, Tony, you wrote, I love the makeup lesson, bro. Thanks. It works, eh? It works, sort of. Yeah. A little bit less shiny. Shiny, happy people. Remember that song by R.E.M.? Yeah. All right. Next question is from Vipul, who's saying, what are the key points of a good resume? Yeah. So resume typically has 3 sections. Okay. One is your work experience, education, and then personal other. You can either lead with work experience or education. You lead with your strength. So if you're younger, you just graduated from school and you don't have much work experience except part-time, you lead with the education. If you worked for 10 years, you lead with work experience, of course. Yeah. And keep it short. Never have more than 1 page. Have a handful of bullet points for each entry. And make the font size at least 11 because a lot of people are older like me and they can't read so good no more. Also, at the very bottom, this is important. At the bottom, make sure you have your personal interests, and make sure they're team sports too, like baseball, cricket, or whatever it is. At the very, very bottom, because a lot of people will jump to the bottom of the resume when they first start an interview, and they want to get to know you. And you should always bond in business first before talking about business. A big rookie mistake when it comes to sales or business meetings is to jump into a meeting and just immediately start talking about business. No. Business is about relationships first, product knowledge second. Always. So talk to them, get to know them first. How do you do that? Well, before any meeting, what you can do is you can go to their Twitter profile and see who they follow. If they follow sports teams, you can somehow talk about sports in the first 10 minutes of the meeting. If they follow, certain famous people, you can find a way to talk about that sort of thing. Or you can just read the newspaper that morning to find out what the current events are to discuss that day, that sort of thing, right? For bonding with them, yeah. And if you have more questions about creating a good resume or LinkedIn profile, you can take my online courses on that on Udemy, or sign up for my MBA degree program. If you're in the platinum version of my MBA degree program, I will personally write every line of your LinkedIn profile with you during our 3 hours of one-on-ones. I'll do that. Not my staff. I will do that because it's fun and I want to help if I can. Okay. And hopefully you guys like the colors today too. I learned that by looking at the color wheel, which colors work best together. And Isaac Newton actually pioneered this. And I'll show you when he invented gravity. So there's something called and this will help you with your presentations. Okay. Color wheel. Okay. All right. Here it is right here. So what you do is you take colors that are opposite of each other or close to it. So you'll see in the background, I've got blue and yellowish. See that? Those colors work great together. Whenever you buy candy, you'll see that happens a lot. Like Nerds, for example, will have red and green flavor in one package. That sort of thing. So anyway, that's how I came up with these colors in the background here. I've learned the hard way over the past couple of years. I've done 1,000 hours, I think, now of these calls, these live calls. I still make mistakes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up here, let's see. Mehmet is saying, and that's Mehmet is saying, hi Chris, how can I become a financial analyst? Dr. Oz, I think his first name is Mehmet as well. Yeah, he's from Turkey originally. Yeah. Great guy. How can I become a financial analyst? Well, I don't think that there's any textbook that will teach you finance properly. It's just too theoretical. Kind of like economics textbooks, just too theoretical. No one uses supply and demand graphs in real life unless you're an economist, whatever. So I think the best thing you can do to learn about finance is to take online courses by people that have actually done it. And so humbly for me, I've worked on Wall Street at Goldman Sachs. I've worked in the hedge fund industry at some of the largest, best hedge funds ever. I've worked in venture capital. I've started my own hedge fund and venture capital firm. So I think that learning from people that have done it makes sense. And you can take my course if you want on Udemy called the Complete Financial Analyst Training and Investing Course, or you can take my MBA degree program where we go in a lot more detail than that. Yeah. What you can also do is you can read, and I'll show you which publications to read. Okay. So I always like to look globally. So for example, for me, I get my political information on American politics from the BBC because it's more objective and it's independent, right? Now, when it comes to finance, I want you to go to ft.com, okay? And it's kind of like the Wall Street. Can you believe this crap? Jeez. You thought 2020 was nutty. Good God. These fools, eh? Crazy. And all their faces are exposed. So they're going to go to jail. Way to go, losers. Yeah. All right. But I'm so sorry. I got kind of distracted there. But the Financial Times is kind of like the Wall Street Journal, but global. And as you go through the Financial Times here, I only want you to read articles on how the world works. And I love this picture from the 60s hippies. That's awesome. Don't ever read articles that are going to bias you to buy a stock. Don't read articles from that CEOs are being interviewed in, or hedge fund managers or mutual fund managers are being interviewed in. Okay, just read articles on how the world works. So, for example, new U.S. jobless claims declined slightly. Right, that's economic data point. It might be interesting for you to learn about that. So click here, and it's going to make you want to. It's going to tell you to pay for it, but I'm going to show you how to get around that. Remember, I'll never be sponsored by anybody. And if this burns bridges, I don't give a damn. I put my students, the customer first always. So what you do is you copy the title, paste it into Google, and then you click on it here. And now you can read it for free. Yay. Doesn't work with all websites. Why does it work with FT and a lot of websites? Because if it did not work, then from an SEO perspective, meaning search engine optimization perspective, you wouldn't be able to get access to their articles, and it would hurt them from a marketing perspective. Yeah. A little hack for you. Yeah. All right. And also, last thing I'll say is you have to network like crazy, like anything else. And I recommend if you're really passionate about finance, or any career track, I recommend setting up, and this is going to sound cray, it's okay though. I recommend setting up 1,000 networking meetings. Why 1,000? You're like, Chris, that doesn't make sense. Well, think about how each meeting costs you $100, okay, just for fun. So $100 times 1,000 is $100,000. If you do 1,000 meetings and you still can't change careers, then consider getting an MBA from a traditional school. I know it's a different way to think, but I promise you'll do a lot fewer than 1,000 meetings to get the job of your dreams. And read my networking book here, get it from my website for more details. Yeah. Relationship are more important than product knowledge. All right. All right, next up, Surya is saying, how do I keep my uptime high if I use more 3D models animations in my website / app? Yeah, it's tough. So what I recommend doing, and I do this with all of my spreadsheets as well, is if you use images, save them as the lowest quality you possibly can, and also repeat the same image over and over and over and over again. So for example, in Excel, if I have an Excel spreadsheet with 100 tabs, I reuse the same image many, many times because Excel thinks it's only one image. That's it. Yeah. And when you send out emails, never send out emails with images that are like a megabyte each. Try to streamline them, save them in a lower resolution format, like a JPEG or GIF, and not PNG, so that it's only a couple hundred kilobytes and not in the megabytes. Yeah. That's what I would say. Yeah. And on my website, I'm really careful of that too. I'll save them as low quality images so that the load time is not very high. Yeah. All right. And if you want to do more advanced stuff, use Photoshop. You can always go export as and change the resolution size there. Yeah. Okay. All right. And if I miss any questions in between, just paste it again, please. Thank you. Next up, Surya is saying, how can blockchain be used to store and analyze big data? How efficient is that? And how much does it cost? Does it require? So let me take a step back. So for those of you not familiar with blockchain, it is kind of the crux of cryptocurrencies. So think of a ledger. People used to write debits and credits, money in, money out in those old books. And with Bitcoin, the blockchain for Bitcoin is a digital version of just that. Now, with other cryptocurrencies, they take it a step further. And the reason why a lot of cryptos exist is not just because people want to make money, but also because some of the older cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin, have limitations. And so people created Ethereum, and the ticker is ETH. And Ether is the cryptocurrency that trades on the Ethereum platform. Now, the blockchain, when it comes to Ethereum, is so much more than just a digital ledger. It's a way for you to store a lot of data and have secure data as well. The best way to think about it is think of Ethereum's blockchain as being similar to Bitcoin's digital ledger blockchain plus DocuSign. So you can have secure contracts in the Ethereum blockchain and so much more as well. Okay. All right. And there's a question, how much does it cost? Well, it's kind of open source. It doesn't, it kind of gets, there's really no cost required after the white paper is made and the product's been deployed. Because what happens is the nature of cryptocurrencies, the way that cryptos thrive is through cryptocurrency mining. which I teach in my complete cryptocurrency course and in my MBA degree programs. And whenever somebody mines a cryptocurrency, it gets added to the blockchain, and it makes the blockchain grow back stronger, so to speak, the secure algorithm. Kind of like if you break your arm, God forbid, but if you break your arm and you wear a cast, after you take the cast off, your arm grows back a little bit stronger. The bone is a little bit stronger, right? And that's the essence of cryptocurrency mining. Yeah. All right, Mr. Nobody. I like that. Now I've got that song "Nowhere Man" in my head from Revolver, I think, from the Beatles in '65. Yeah, Mr. Nobody is saying, "Yo, Chris, what's your advice to a 20-year-old guy who wants to build a software development services company and agency in the future?" Yeah. So I say the best way to first of all learn the tools and then sell what you made. The best way to learn the tools when it comes to software development is take courses online. You know, and my go-to person now for online courses is this brilliant woman named Angela Yu. She's from England, which means she speaks gooder than me. She used to be a doctor, and she didn't like it as much. She wanted to teach and help people, and so she started a company called the App Brewery, I think is what it's called. And what you can do is take her courses. They're not expensive at all, and I don't get any kickbacks or brownie points for ever mentioning anything here. But what you do is you go to Udemy, and you will find her usually on the front page. Oh, right here. Good. Yeah. Okay. If you scroll down, she's usually there. There she is. She's great. She's dope. And I met her in Berlin like a year or two ago at an event. She's the real deal. She's awesome. But she'll teach you in this course web development from scratch. And dude, her ratings are insane. I will never get ratings like this ever. And her courses are like 8 million hours long. Right? They're amazing. But let me click on her name here. Yeah, and she really should be the #1 best-selling teacher on Udemy, and I think she will be very soon. She's amazing. But you can take courses here on how to code, as well as how to make apps and that sort of thing from scratch. It's fun. I have a lot of students I've recommended take her courses, and they're all happy. Look at this, 4.8. Dude, I will never get a rating that high. Like even if I bribe people, even if I paid you to take all my courses, I would never get a rating that high. It's insane. 60 hours though, just the value proposition's off the charts. So that's what I would do in terms of how to learn the tools, the trick of the trade, so to speak. Now, when it comes to getting customers for your software development agency, there's a couple things you can do. You can start off with Fiverr. That's FIVERR.com. And you can start advertising your services there. Just low-end services initially, like maybe brochureware type products you'll develop, websites, etc. And then what you can do is you can then graduate or move up to Upwork.com and do the same thing. Then if you want to go elephant hunting and getting really, really big contracts, then you have to start networking aggressively. Relationships are more important than product knowledge. Your network is your net worth. Go to my website, harounventures.com, and get this book for free. Yeah. All right. Jeff Rain is saying, nowadays, blockchain technology is implemented in many growing companies. We found that to store a gigabyte of data costs $100. If so, how is it possible to store a large number of data by those companies? Yeah, blockchain. So blockchain exists everywhere. You can download the entire Bitcoin blockchain if you want to. It's distributed. It's saved all over the internet. There's no one centralized repository where it's only stored. Yeah. Okay. And Usama is saying, thank you. You're most welcome. Most welcome. Mr. Nobody, that's another question, is saying, also, how can I approach Fortune 500 companies for enterprise software services that I want to provide them? And do you think starting a software development firm is feasible nowadays? Yeah. So failing to plan is planning to fail, which is why I think that everybody should write a thorough business plan before starting a company. And I have a course on Udemy called the Complete Business Plan course that you can take. Check it out. or you can take my MBA degree program. We do a very, very thorough version of that, including what I call a venture capital boot camp, which is in the third semester of my 1-year MBA degree program. So that's what I would say. Failing to plan is plan to fail. So write your business plan first, your thorough business plan before starting that company. I promise you, this will help you a lot. It'll save you a lot of money, heartache, and maybe years in your life. You might even be convinced not to start the company after writing the business plan, right? Or you'll write the business plan and you'll uncover a bunch of weaknesses or risks and start your business model in a much better way than you thought you should have before because of the risk you'll uncover in writing the business plan as well. And always use other people's money to raise money from high net worth investors. Never use a bank, please. Yeah. Okay. Next up is Gamara saying, what is the dark side of stock trading? Yeah. So the dark side is just like walking to a casino and thinking you're going to make money. That's it. You can't make money in a casino unless you're breaking the law, right? And they have cameras everywhere. You can't make money longer term stock trading. I don't care what anybody tells you. You know, if somebody had a good year last year because the market was up a lot and they first started trading, it's not sustainable. How do I know that? Give me the names of anybody that's been a successful trader that's a household name. They don't exist. It's a scam. Because you're being fooled by randomness. Stocks go up and down in a short amount of time for reasons outside your control. You can't forecast them. You don't know what the government's going to say. You don't know if there's going to be saber rattling between Riyadh and Moscow or Beijing and Washington, D.C. You don't know what positive news events are going to be released by competing companies to the company you're investing in. You don't know what healthcare data is going to be released tomorrow, next week, whatever it is. And each month has 20 weekdays. That means 20 trading days. You'll be fooled by randomness if you make money. Yeah. The worst thing that can happen is you walk into a casino the first time and you make a lot of money. Just like the worst thing that can happen with trading is you trade one time and you do well. It's not sustainable. And anybody out there tries to sell you on their services to teach you how to trade, I think it's a scam. You know, especially those companies, largely those companies that have trading-based systems that you can subscribe to. If it works, you wouldn't be subscribing to it. They would be using it themselves. Okay. And I'm very passionate about what I'm talking about here because I care. I care about my students. I don't want my students to get burned and lose money. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Mehdi is saying, hi, Chris. Hope you're doing good. Likewise. You've mentioned a few times that you started your career as a software engineer. Can you give us a brief overview about your academic/professional career path? Yeah, sure. It's kind of like you're in an interview and they say, tell me about yourself. And whenever they do that, you just start at the beginning and progress. So I'll start at the beginning and progress. I started my career at Accenture. That's awful dad humor, I'm sorry. Accenture is a great company. I worked as a programmer for 4 years. I love finance and tech. And so I worked in the financial services department at Accenture as a programmer. And then after 4 years, I kind of want to do more finance stuff. And so I applied to 1 or 2 companies. And I called Morgan Stanley in New York City. And they said, don't even bother sending in your resume. I was like, what is that? And so I gave up. And so I decided to go to business school, which cost an arm and a leg. Ridiculous. Had I known what I know now, I would not have gone to business school. I would just network like crazy. And not just give up after one application. Please, Chris. Yeah. And then I went to Columbia. No regrets. It was a great school, and I have a lot of good friends that went there, and I learned a lot from my friends there. And then I went and I worked at Goldman Sachs for 5 years or something. And then after that, I went, and it wasn't enough money for me. I mean, it was plenty of money. But the cancer of Wall Street is we compare ourselves to those that make more. And at every bonus season, we'd all be depressed because there's some person out there that was making way, way more than us. disgusting. Awful way to live your life. And so I was depressed. And so I wanted to make more money. And so what I did was I networked like, you have no idea how much I networked. It was crazy. And I got a job eventually in hedge fund industry, worked at Citadel, came out here to the west coast, sort of. And then I worked in a venture capital firm, hedge fund industry, started my own companies, whatever. And then I was teaching at night. And my happiest day was always the first day I got a new job, like, Wall Street, Goldman, hedge fund, venture capital, whatever. And then it would go downhill. And I thought, am I clinically depressed? What is wrong with me? And I realized that I just wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing. I was insecure and doing things because I thought, I don't know, I'll get street credit for it, whatever. And I started teaching one night. And I fell in love with it. I loved it. And I woke up one day and I'm like, I don't give a damn what anybody thinks of me anymore. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to teach. That's all I'm going to do. I loved it. And I did a lot of charity work teaching. So it was never about the money. It was about helping people. And so I quit, and people thought I was crazy, and that's fine. The second people don't think you're crazy anymore, it's too late. The market's saturated. People still think I'm crazy. Yeah. And I would get a lot of calls up until recently from people saying, do you want to come back to venture capital or hedge fund to work with us? Are you done with this teaching thing? No. This is me. This is what I was meant to do. And this is all I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I love it. So the bottom line is follow your passion. Don't just ignore what the world thinks of you. Don't give a damn. You be you. You do you. You do what you love doing. And I promise you, if you chase money, you'll lose your dreams and your money. But if you chase your dreams, something wonderful happens. Your dreams come true. And the money follows accidentally. It always does. Okay, but you got to be willing to fail a bunch of times first. Kind of like Michael Jordan said, I failed over and over and over again in my career, and that's why I succeed. You be you. You do you. You do what you're most passionate about in life, and life will work out much, much better. Otherwise, what happens is something terrible. You wake up one day and you're really, really old, and you're working for the schmuck who pays you this much dream to make his or her dreams become a reality. And it's never too late to start over. As I mentioned many times before, the average age of somebody starting a company in the United States is over 50. And we're all living 26 years longer today than we did in the 1960s. So that means, or 1950s. That means that you're all 26 years younger today than you think you are. And many of you will live to 150. You can start over multiple times. And if I can humbly help you do that through my courses or through my MBA degree programs, then I've served my purpose on this planet. All right. Another question from Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody is saying, Chris, I also want to skill up from my current web development skill. I'm confused between two options. Solidity blockchain development or game design development in Unreal Engine. I'm learning Unreal right now, by the way. I'm taking a Udemy course on it. Yeah. And then Blender for 3D rendering. What should I proceed with? Okay, so you're saying blockchain or video games. Yeah. I would do what makes you happy. Do what you enjoy most. It's that simple. Because if you do what you really, really enjoy doing, you'll be great at it. And when I worked in venture capital and we would hire engineers or look for a VP of engineering, et cetera, for our portfolio companies, we found that the difference between a great engineer and a good one was 10x in performance. And the great engineers do what they do because they love it. That's why techies stay at work late. They love doing what they're doing. They don't have a job. They have a passion. So you need to decide for yourself between those two options, blockchain or video games. What are you more passionate about? What do you enjoy most? Follow your heart, and this will follow. Next up, question is also, do you think learning the Unreal Engine would be a good option now, as AR/VR will be huge in the future so that I can create VR environments? Absolutely. Hell yeah. That's why I'm learning as well. You'll see here, that's virtual reality goggles from a pretend company I made for a case study of my courses called Shark Virtual Reality. I believe in virtual reality and augmented reality, and I'm embracing it, and I'm going to make it a cornerstone of my MBA degree program and many of my courses in the future. How? I don't know, but I'm going to make it happen. And that's why I'm learning in Unreal this year on Udemy, one of the many courses I'm taking. Yeah, because I do have a lot of spare time this year. I do. All right. Next up, we've got Fabio. Hey, Fabio, how are you? Fabio is saying, hey, Prof, I just want to say hello. I really enjoyed the last MBA class. I can't wait for next week. Today, I had a great day at work because I said, why not? I love it. I love it. And we talked about that in class earlier this week. My gold and platinum students, I talked about a quote from the late, great John F. Kennedy. Instead of asking yourself why, ask yourself why not. Yeah. And Kennedy doesn't get very much credit. I think he was a great president. He created the Peace Corps. God bless him. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Mr. Nobody is saying, what are your thoughts on REIT ETFs like VNQ? Yeah. So I never tell my students what to buy. I never provide my students with a fish. I teach them humbly how to fish. And so for those of you not familiar with REITs, REITs, it stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. And it's kind of like buying a stock, but you're buying real estate. And governments in many countries have mandated that if you set up a REIT and have it like a stock so anyone can buy, what happens is you have to give away 90% of the profits in terms of dividends. That's why the yields are usually higher on these things. Yeah. And so I am working on a course right now called the Complete Real Estate Course, which is going to drop on Udemy at some point. And I'll add part of it also to other courses, other stuff, like on my MBA degree program as well. Case studies. The case study on the MBA degree program will be based on a couple of buildings that I bought over the past few years. Yeah. And how I did it, how I financed it, that sort of thing. Yeah. Okay. And I'm always adding to the MBA degree program as well. So for students that graduated last year, we didn't have a section that was thorough on options and derivatives. I'm adding that this year, which will be class number 89 out of 100. Yeah. And I'll be adding a lot more stuff as well. Next up, Valens, how are you? Valens graduated from my MBA degree program last year, a platinum student. He lives in New Zealand. Your prime minister has done a wonderful job of containing COVID. And Valens is actually originally from Indonesia. His family's back there, and I hope your family is safe and healthy, and I hope you're doing well. And it's you made my day. It's great to hear from your brother. Thank you. And so Valens said, how are you? I'm great. I was just wondering whether you have any career tips to get into supply chain. Does a master's degree required? No. I don't think so. I really do think it comes down to networking in general. Yeah. And if there's a technology product you need to learn about supply chain, even if it's something as rudimentary as an SAP module or Oracle module as part of the ERP suite, there are many online courses you can take. All right. Next up, we got Tony. Tony's one of my wonderful platinum students in this year's MBA degree program. Tony is saying, hi, Chris. I missed my Tuesday MBA class, but I nailed my investor presentation in New York on Tuesday. Awesome. I love it, Tony. Congrats. And Tony's been working in real estate for years and development. And he was preparing, and we talked about it in class, for a meeting he was going to have in New York. And I remember I joked. I said, make sure you give them all a big hug. Just kidding. Awful. I'm one dumb comment from ruining my life. I know. Obviously with COVID, just the way it works. You wrote, I nailed my investor presentation in New York on Tuesday. I had the mentality of I don't care. It worked beautifully. Thank you. Awesome, dude. Mazel tov. Congratulations. Very happy for you. Very happy for you. And what Tony and I talked about, and I think we did this over Zoom as well, was sometimes you'll walk into meetings, like I failed a lot, like in interviews. You'll walk into an interview and you'll try to be too business focused and you won't network and be yourself and you don't get the job. And I found that the jobs I have gotten are the ones where I've been so fed up with my failure and inability to get jobs that I would go to an interview and I just sit there and like tell myself, I don't care. I don't care if I get this job, or I don't care if I get this customer. And I'm not rude or disingenuous, but it takes a lot of pressure off of me because I just tell myself I'm just going to be me. Because as Dr. Seuss said, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So just be yourself because everyone else is taken. And if you get a chance, go listen to that Sting song called Englishman in New York. It's a great song. And the chorus is, be yourself no matter what they say. Life works better if you're just yourself, especially in meetings, man. Like, I remember when I worked at Goldman, I would get into an elevator with a senior executive, Bob Steele, for example, when I worked there. And I remember in the elevator ride being so nervous. And I said stuff like, beautiful day, isn't it? And at the end of that elevator ride, I would think to myself, did I sound smart? Did I say good stuff? Did that help my career? And I bet you Bob lost respect for me because he looked at me like, I remember it really well. Like, he's like, come on, just be yourself. And if other people are around you and they see that you're not being yourself in a corporation, like your peers, they'll lose respect for you. And senior management hates it too when you do that. It makes them feel uncomfortable, man. Just be you. You do you. You know, like your parents and your friends love you for who you are. So just be yourself and everything else will fall into place. And Tony, I'm very glad to hear that you being you and saying, I don't care, worked beautifully. And then thank you for mentioning that as well. And you have a wonderful personality too, and you're easygoing and easy to talk to. I'm sure that helped. Cool. Awesome. Next up, Tom is saying, hi, Chris. Hey, what's the difference between CapEx and investment activities? Yeah. And you're probably thinking about the cash flow statement there. Yeah. So CapEx, it means spending money on equipment. Okay. Capital expenditures. And it can be thought of as an investment because you're investing in equipment in general to help your business grow. Okay. And then don't forget, if you're looking at the cash flow statement, to take depreciation into context as well when you create your DCF, which is, I think, is what you're probably looking at doing. Investment activities it's a little bit elusive because it can be thought of as 1/3 of the cash flow statement. You've got cash flow from operations, cash flow from investing, cash flow from financing. And so investing, part of that can be investing in your business by CapEx, by buying machines. But investing activities can also be thought of investing in individual investments like, I don't know, usually it's treasuries or repos or short-term low-risk investments that are very, very liquid for the company. And they kind of it's kind of like cash and short-term securities, treasuries. So you can think of it that way as well. But I would say that CapEx is part of investment activities. If you're looking at the cash flow statement in general, let me know if that's not correct, if you're not thinking about this from a cash flow perspective. But I think you are based on the lingo you use there. Thank you. Okay. Next up, Mr. Nobody is saying, is your 100-step stock valuation process also included in your Udemy courses? No. This is for the MBA degree program. I'll show you. I'll show you what this is. So let me go to Excel. Go to Excel, Hal. Yeah, this is something for my MBA students. Okay. And then let me go back to Excel. Didn't I open Excel? Am I losing it? Excel. Here we go. Yeah. No, I've got a lot of cameras around. So all And this here is the dashboard I think you're referring to. And I've only talked about this in my MBA degree program. Let's see if it's opening. Oh, here it is. It's opening now. Yeah. Yeah. So this here is, it's 100 steps. It's 30 megs. I'm proud of myself on this one here. I got, this is probably the best spreadsheet I've ever made. This here is 100 steps on analyzing any type of company, right? So you've got qualitative research, quantitative research, and then financial research as well. And we analyze everything here. Auditor red flags, government, BOM, which stands for bill of material, ASP, which is average selling price, FX exposure, etc. And all this feeds into a dashboard here. There's no macros, by the way, and this is all this is all done. And let me go hide my face here. Sorry. This is all done just using Excel. No macros. I don't believe in macros at all. Yeah. So and this is for a fictitious company here. This example: market share, geographic revenue exposure. Okay, this is all done in Excel. And this is powered by Bing. That's the only time saying powered by Bing is cool. Sector exposure, top 10 shareholders, the total addressable market, and all this stuff that I'm showing you right now. And we analyze macro as well. Heat maps and all that fun stuff. This is all Excel, by the way. Yeah. And I'll teach you how to do this from scratch in the MBA degree program. ASP, Dow, MAU, etc. All this stuff is done within Excel. And then what happens is there's an executive summary, and this might look familiar to you because I did use this in a financial analyst course a while ago, but everything feeds into here in this in all 100 steps. And if you hit print, you can save it as a PDF if you want to, or what you can do is you can actually print it out paper-wise. See here? So save as PDF. And I set it up so you can even hide technical analysis if you want to. And there's tons of fields I created for you, and I teach you how to do all this as well. What also is created for you here is a 150-page investment report based on all of this here. Okay, and this is the most thorough due diligence process I've created in my life for anything, and all my students in my MBA degree programs get this. Yeah. And this is just one of the many different frameworks that I create and provide my students with in my MBA degree program. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Andrew Dupree is from Toronto. He's saying Happy New Year, Chris. Happy New Year to you too, brother. Great to see you. Great to see you. Andrew is the inverse of me. He's an American living in Canada. I'm a Canadian living in the USA. Yeah. And Andrew's from, I was in your neck of the woods, actually. He's from Southern California. I was there last week with my family. Great to hear from you, brother. And Andrew's the very first person accepted in my MBA program. I met with him in person, actually, at University of Toronto in 2019. Happy New Year, buddy. Happy New Year. Okay. Next up, we've got, give me 1 second here. All right. Next up, we've got Belkishan is saying, hi, Chris. Will Elon Musk become the first trillionaire? I don't know. I don't know. But one of the reasons why stocks are going up a lot is because interest rates are basically zero in every country or many countries. And governments have kind of signaled that they're going to stay very low interest rates for years. And when interest rates are low, what happens is people think to themselves, well, I'm not going to keep my money in the bank because I can't get a good return. So I'm going to buy stocks. And the inverse happened in the early 1980s when you had Volcker, the Federal Reserve chairperson, raising interest rates to about 20%. In the early 80s, the stock markets did awful, and not many companies were birthed or founded because everyone kept their money in the banks. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why stocks are and have been doing well. Yeah. Next up, we got Benjamin. Hey, Benjamin, saying, hi, Chris. Is it useful after finishing the financial analyst course on Udemy to also take invest in stocks like a pro course or the topics already covered in the financial analyst course? Yeah, no, don't take that course of mine because I've got a course of mine called the Complete Financial Analyst Training and Investing Course. That is a long course, right? And that covers, everything about finance, whatever. Whereas the invest in stocks like a pro is kind of a subset of that. So I don't think it's worth your time taking the invest in stocks like a pro if you've already taken a complete financial analyst course. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Tony is saying, I live in the outskirts of DC, and I anticipate, I anticipated the craziness that happened yesterday. My train back from New York was filled with these unruly hooligans that refused to wear masks. Wow. That's right. Yeah, Tony, you had your big meeting in New York with the real estate developers you're telling me about. Wow. That's right. The Excel train, I used to take that. The bullet train, right? Back and forth to, yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, hopefully you had your mask on, etc. But the one positive thing about these hooligans not having their masks on is those fools, all their faces are captured by cameras. There's going to be repercussions, and they'll be locked up, which is a good thing. Yeah. I can't believe Trump. Like, it just doesn't make. I'm not going to go there. I just pray for peace. Like, I grew up a Republican in Canada, like Alex Keaton, as a kid, and I love Ronald Reagan. And I came here. I'm like, okay, great, I can vote Republican. No, I can't. I'm independent usually. I'll vote for whatever party I think makes sense. Maybe I'm a libertarian, but I just can't believe, what Trump has done to the Republican Party. And I wish that Mitt Romney was a little bit more outgoing, charismatic, because I think he'd be president. Yeah. Craziness. But I am happy that, like, the election in November, I remember I told my kids, if they were allowed to go to school, which they're not because of quarantine still, even today, I told them to stay in the house, first of all. I didn't want them going downtown or whatever. But I think that I'm actually happy that we didn't know the results from the election right away in November. Because it's like letting air out of a balloon slowly, right? It's kind of instead of being a shock to those that don't agree with the election. But God willing, we don't have to invoke the 25th Amendment. And for those of you not familiar with U.S. politics or government, whatever, so hundreds of years ago, the U.S. Constitution was made. And it was basically, the bottom line is this. You had a lot of people that lived in Europe that came to America hundreds of years ago. And they liked some of the stuff from Europe, but not all of it. And so they created a legal code or a constitution that's greatest hits of what works in Europe. Plus, they added a lot more stuff, checks and balances and stuff. And after they did that, they wanted to change it. But instead of changing the Constitution every couple of years, they add what are called amendments. And so the Fifth Amendment, which we all see on TV, means you don't have to talk because a lawyer will, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. The 25th Amendment is the amendment to the Constitution that stipulates that if a president is ill or mentally not there, then the vice president will become president for a little while. So we don't know. And it was, it was interesting with Pence yesterday, Mike Pence. You had Trump bullying him in an interview saying, I hope Pence does the right thing. And Pence actually, for the first time I've seen at least, kind of went against Trump by saying we have to observe the rules by which the Constitution was written, etc. Yeah, so I hope that the transition is peaceful in the next couple of weeks. And if you're watching a replay, it is now January 7th, 2021. Merry Christmas to those of you that are Orthodox like my father. Today is Christmas for Orthodox, yeah. Okay. And then Pratik said, today the video quality is very nice. Thanks for mentioning that, man. I tried something different today, and I'll show you what it is. I took a risk. So what I did was right here. It's okay. What I did was right here, I selected, you see here, 1440 resolution. Usually, I go down to 1080, 30 frames per second. But I went higher today. Yeah, so I tried something new. So I took a risk. Yeah, so I'll do that going forward. Thank you for the feedback, Pratik. Appreciate that, buddy. From now on, that's what I'll do. It's 1440. You cannot do 4K streaming over YouTube. You used to be able to back in 2016, but not anymore. This is what I'll do from now on. Thank you. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah. Cool. And then Pratik said, Happy New Year, Sir Chris, please. May you achieve all your goals this year. Thank you. Thank you. And I believe in the quote of don't expect to accomplish your goals in life unless you help others accomplish theirs first. So I want to focus on you, Pratik, and all of my platinum and gold students and make sure that, or any of my students, whether you take my course or not, to see if I can humbly help you all achieve your goals. Yeah. Okay. Next up, hold on a second. Next up, I've got Adonis. Let me just do one little maintenance check here. Sorry. I'm looking through a teleprompter, as you all know. First up here, I've got Adonis, who's saying, Hi, Chris. Do you have any views on the CFA program? Is it sensible to progress towards a CFA after the MBA? Is the MBA program aligned to the CFA in any way? No, not at all. Yeah. I respect the CFA much more than I do traditional MBA programs. So the CFA, for those of you not familiar, stands for Certified Financial Analyst designation. And it takes you 3 years to do it. I did the first year years ago. It takes you 3 years to do it. You don't attend classes. You just study at night, at home, or in the mornings, whatever. And when you write the tests, what they do is they tell you a huge number of textbooks you have to buy that are ridiculously expensive, man. Don't buy any of those textbooks. It's crap. Buy books from Schweizer. Okay. There are this many books that are this thick each that tells you all you need to know to pass it. And Schweizer is owned by Kaplan, which is owned by the Washington Post, which is owned by Jeff Bezos. But all you have to do to study for it is go directly to eBay. Okay. Schweizer. And I'm spelling it wrong. That's okay because I'll get corrected. Here we go. Yeah. All right. So here you go. You can buy all the books. I'll show you. Yeah. You can buy all the books here for dirt cheap. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Right here. Yeah. Okay. So this one here, it's this is all you need for level 1, and level 2 you can buy from somebody else as well here. So this is $26 plus $20 in shipping. Oh, this guy is making a killing off of shipping. Yeah, but whatever. It's still pretty cheap, right? It's worth it. The $46 is worth it. You get all these books here, which is all you need to know to study for these exams. Kaplan, Schweizer. Yeah. All right. All right. But level 1, you'll find that level 1 is a repeat of your MBA finance, and then levels 2 and 3 is more advanced. Yeah. And then Pratik is saying, is there an online company you use to make shirts? Yeah. So the company I personally use, I'll show you here. Let me go to T-shirt order, because I can't remember. It'll come up here first. Yeah, they pay for all the ads here. Yeah. So I use Custom Ink to get all of my shirts made here. Of course, you can save a lot of money if you buy in bulk. This only works in the United States, though, which sucks. You can also, like, you'll notice that I have merch on my website as well. Shit, I didn't show you guys that the whole time, so sorry. Custom, I'll have to show you again. Damn it. Custom shirts. And I'll show you, I'm sorry about that. I'll show you really, really quickly the eBay thing too. Custom t-shirts. I'll make this fast. I'm so sorry, guys. All right. So I use Custom Ink here. Okay. This is what I use. And they only ship in the US, unfortunately. Now, what I was showing before on eBay, and I don't think it's shared, but I'll just show you really, really quickly. eBay Schweizer. Okay. So you can get all the books right here for Schweizer. Oh, buy the used ones. Don't buy the new ones, please. Here's where you can buy it. And the one I was referring to is right here, which, yeah, anyway. So check this out if you want. And there's guys I was showing that charge $20 in shipping. This guy here, sorry about that. But anyway, this is what I would buy today. Okay. All right. But I have you'll notice that on my YouTube channel I have merchandise as well. Don't buy my merch, please. It's a free service that YouTube offers. I'm playing around with it right now. I'm not very happy with the results. I tried to sell them at cost. They make you mark it up a bit, but I ordered. I'm not happy with it, so I should probably gut it from the website. Yeah, or from YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. This shirt here that I'm wearing is for one of my amazing platinum students who graduated last year, named Rose Luck, and this is actually for charity. And what she does is she sells them on her website. So let me see if I can go here to Viper Rose. Viper Rose. She has it on here somewhere. She made the yearbook as well here. Shop. Here it is here. Oh, here you go. Yeah. So you can go to this website here. It's called Viper Rose. Or Viper. Just read here and go here. Sorry, I suck at talking. And this is where you can actually buy the shirts. And this is what she's done with her partner here in making this great charity. And I ordered them from here, actually. I ordered this shirt here. It's actually really good. I like it. Thank you. I ordered it right here. So $16. All profits go to charity. And then Rose, I think you're on the call today. If you are, Rose, if you don't mind, let us know how you did this. Because I want to do this as well on my website. If this is just an API you plugged in, or what service it is you use for these to outsource it, or if you do it in-house, let us all know. We want to learn from you. And Rose also published an amazing LinkedIn vlog back in December of 2019 on how to use Amazon's merchant services business for clothing. Yeah. And give me 1 second. I'm going to go and turn this camera on here. It shut down because it was overheating. I'll be right back. Okay. So the top-down one is overheating, so I guess that's fine. All right. Next up, Pratik is saying, I use Vistaprint, but the quality of the shirt wasn't good. I know what you're talking about. I use Vistaprint as well for my complete business plan course, the Tony Shark white t-shirt, which sucked. I actually had to wear 2 shirts when I did that because it was see-through. Yeah. All right. Next up, Aditya is saying, hi, Chris. Very inspired by your courses. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a job offer from FactSet and KPMG. Which one should I choose? Yeah. And so KPMG, we know, is a great global accounting / consulting company. FactSet is a financial services data and software company. I used to use their products a lot to plug into Microsoft Excel to feed in street estimates for revenue and earnings. Yeah. What I would do is this. I would go on a long walk by yourself, Aditya, and I would think to yourself, where do I want to be in 10 years? And write down your goals. And then think to yourself, how do I fill that gap? Would working at FactSet or KPMG help me? Meaning, would working in a financial services data and software company help me? Or doing accounting / consulting at KPMG help me to get closer to my 10-year goals? Okay. And then next up, Pratik is saying, in my school, the teachers used to think that I can't study because I had a mental disease. But I proved them wrong by getting the highest marks in the whole class. I love that, Pratik. Dude, you are me. Freaking love that. I love that. And that's what happened to me, too, when I was younger. I love teachers. I do. Because a lot of them, really care. But there are some teachers that just piss me off because they try to put you in your place because maybe they're insecure. I don't know. But teaching is not the army. But I know what you mean. In fact, I'll open up. When I was in the 6th grade and in the 8th grade, I remember they thought I had a learning disability and they wanted to fail me. I remember that. And so they sent me to some learning disability center to get tested and helped, whatever it was. It was in Oakville Road, Ontario, Canada. It was called Chisholm. And And I remember and those bastard teachers, they asked me to come back and speak at school. I'll never give them airtime or mention who they are. I'm going to shut up now. But I think the role of a teacher should be to boost the confidence of the student, not break them down. Because with confidence, you can accomplish anything in life. And if you all get a chance, and Pratik's one of my wonderful students, but we talked about this in class, read a book by Malcolm Gladwell. He's from Toronto, represents, called David and Goliath. It's not a religious thing, but it just talks about how people that have been told that they're not good enough are the ones that rise up and do exceptionally well because of that. So thank you, teachers, for telling me I had that learning disability, because it caused me to work harder. But it messed me up in other ways. But net, I'm happy you did that, because I want to teach gooder than they do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I love you even more, buddy. Okay. All right. Pratik said, I sent a LinkedIn message to 3 people, but none of them replied. What should I do now? 3 is nothing, dude. 3 is nothing. Keep trying. Keep trying. And I think and I think you're a platinum student, not gold. If you're platinum, when we have our one-on-one starting in mid-January, I'll take a look at your LinkedIn profile. We can go through it together, and I'll help you. Yeah. But you can't just stop after 3. You got to keep trying. It's you look at some of the best authors in history, like J.K. Rowling, as well as Agatha Christie, C.S. Lewis, and John Grisham. They got rejected more than 3 times. They got rejected probably 30 or 40 times before they got a yes. You just got to say, I don't give a damn what people think of me, and I'm going to keep trying because I only have to be right in business one time. It's like dating. You only have to get 1 yes for eternal happiness. Yeah. And I've learned over the past year that MBA does not stand for married but available. And I am spending more time with my family. I'm good. I think I'm always good. I think about that because last year I didn't see any of my friends or talk to them. I just focused on family and students. That's it. But this year I'm not working Wednesdays and Fridays, so it's good. Playing a lot of PS5 with the kids. Yeah. And I finished Detroit. Great game. PS4 game. Amazing. It's called Detroit Being Human. You guys got to play it. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. And now I'm playing, I can't remember what it's called. Death Standing or Death Stranding? Yeah, I just started it last night. It's sci-fi. It's pretty cool. Yeah. All right, next up, we got about 20 minutes left, and then I got to wrap it up because I've got my gold and platinum students office hours with them. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Tony, who just nailed the meeting in New York, is saying, what is the most efficient way to find the right consultant in Fiverr or Upworks? Thank you. Yeah. Make sure they have an insanely high number of reviews, because if it's just a handful, it could be doctored reviews. Yeah. That's what I would say. I would just go based on reviews. Make sure it's 4.5 stars or up if you can. That's what I would say. And if it's something more specific you want to look at, let me know, and I'll go there right now with you and try to pick something for you. Yeah. I've used both. Yeah. Upwork's a hell of a lot more expensive though. Yeah. But you get what you pay for, right? Okay. Next up, Manas from India is saying, what's your take on WhatsApp? They changed their privacy policy now. They know everything A to Z about the users. Have you used WhatsApp? I think Facebook is going wrong now. Yeah. Anything Facebook owns, I don't trust. So I don't use WhatsApp. I have it because I have some people in China. I use that in Weibo. That's the only way they can contact me. But they usually have to tell me over email, whatever, that I'm going to WhatsApp you. That sort of thing. Yeah. I have friends that work at Facebook. That have worked at WhatsApp for years, even before Zuck bought them. And the feedback I'm getting, and I'm not providing anything proprietary or insider information here, but Zuck has done a good job with WhatsApp and Instagram because he leaves them alone. See, when Facebook buys a company, Zuck, and I will criticize them from a political perspective, I think they're responsible for the bifurcation of Western society. You know, if you're a Democrat, they'll give you more Democrat ads or videos, which makes you more Democrat. And the same thing with Republicans. And you've got America at odds. And I believe everything that Sacha Baron Cohen says about that company. Yeah. But what Zuck has done well is he leaves those companies alone. And he lets them massively accelerate the number of subscribers they have. And then eventually he tries to monetize it. So he left Instagram alone for about a decade, right? Or a little bit less. They bought it in 2011. And then eventually he pulled it into Facebook, and it says a Facebook company. It took a while. But he tries to monetize it later. He's long-term focused, and the longer the view, the wiser the intention. That's one of the reasons why he's very, very successful. He's done the same thing with WhatsApp as well. He's left it alone. And they had to buy WhatsApp because Facebook Messenger sucked. It really, really did. So, yeah. Do I trust Facebook with WhatsApp or any data? But no damn way. No way. Yeah. I'm careful. And I haven't posted anything on Facebook, I think, in a year or two in my personal Facebook account. I haven't even gone there and read stuff. Yeah. But I think my marketing team they use Facebook for my MBA thing, whatever. Yeah. All right. Next up, Daniel is saying, "Hey, Chris, Happy New Year. Likewise, same to you. I just want to say thank you for everything. Thank you. I completed your financial analyst course and secured a position within alternative investments at Northern Trust, moving from science. And I'm starting next week. I can't wait, and thank you again. You're most welcome, and I'm very, very happy for you. Very, very happy for you. That's awesome. Alternative investments. That's like the hedge fund stuff too, eh? That's awesome. Good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah. Very, very cool. And I remember I worked at Goldman years ago, and there's a guy named Mark Burrell. He used to manage the Northern Trust accounts. Yeah. But it's a great firm, man. Congratulations, Daniel. Very, very happy for you. And thank you for mentioning that. Yeah. Next up, Pratik is saying, I think the biggest problem in the future will be privacy. I think Google and Facebook know more about us than anybody else. What are your thoughts? Yeah. So I think those companies will be broken up. And Google knows it too. Google's smart. And I don't think Google's evil. Like, I remember I invested in the IPO back in 2004, and in the IPO prospectus, they actually had this. They wrote, "Don't be evil." And given the fact that Sergey Brin, the co-founder, along with Larry Page, Sergey grew up in Russia. He understands how disgusting communism is, and how wonderful freedom of the individual can be, which is why they pulled out of China and let Baidu own the market, which is the right call. So I trust Google a hell of a lot more than I trust Facebook. However, when companies get too big and they're too strong, it destroys innovation in the marketplace. And so it's incumbent upon governments to split up companies that are too powerful. And Google knows this is going to happen. They've known for years. And so that's why Google is called Alphabet. They understand that they're going to get broken up. They own the two biggest search engines in the world, Google and YouTube. And if Google weren't such an amazing corporate citizen over the past decade, it would already have been broken up. I'm sure the Attorney General, Department of Justice would have gone after them. But I am confident that within a year or two, Google will be close to, if not already, split into two companies. Google and Facebook, or maybe three. No, probably two. Google and other entities. I'm sorry, Google and YouTube. Google and other entities and YouTube. Now, with respect to Facebook, they might get split into separate companies. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. But I think that regulators in Europe are going to cause Facebook to change their privacy policies materially. Thank God for the EU, dude. If it weren't for the EU, privacy would be even more of a nightmare today. The EU keeps American and all tech companies in check. Yeah. All right. Tell you, man, to be successful in social media, it's a double-edged sword. You got government coming after you. If you're Dorsey or Zuck, it's not easy. Yeah. And I'm glad government's going after them. Okay. Next up, Vipul said, when will you start a new batch of MBA degree program? Yeah. So I'll start the next, you can sign up for silver today if you want to. Just go to, let me see, it's on my website, or go to learn.harounventures.com. Again, learn.harounventures.com. But the next gold and platinum program, I'm going to start, I usually start in December, but I'm thinking next time to start it in January. And the reason is because I found that with this most recent year, and it's gone great so far, but we did a couple classes, and I just started to get to know the students a bit, and then it was Christmas vacation. It's like, and I want more continuity. So I might start next year's in January instead. Yeah. All right. Next up, Matt's Foods Insider is saying, I love your video course. I did not expect that you're into video making. Thank you. I had a lot of fun with that one. I partnered in that one with a brilliant man, really funny guy too, who's a good friend now, named Steve Washer. And Steve is, he's the number one expert in the planet when it comes to green screens. And I reached out to him one day, a couple of years ago, or whatever it was. And I asked, how do you do this green screen stuff? And he was so nice to help me. And I was like, oh my God, how is this guy not like number one video teacher on the planet? So I reached out to him, we made a course together, and we had a lot of laughs doing it. Yeah. All right. But I have a lot of support too. There's a wonderful guy, probably my best friend now, named Matt Lacousse. And I made him a partner in my firm, my only partner. He's my chief creative officer, and he's wonderful. He's wonderful, yeah. So he taught me a lot. Without him, I'd probably be still using a webcam. But I do challenge myself. Like I love the feeling of being over my head. So what I do when I start companies or courses is I feel like I jump off or I feel like I'm looking over the edge of a cliff. And I throw a bunch of airplane parts out. And then I jump off and I have to assemble that airplane before I hit the ground. I love that feeling of challenging myself, pushing the goalpost out, which is what I did last year with the MBA program. But anyway, it wouldn't be possible without Matt, as well as Doug, Daniil, Hisham, Jean-Marco, Joey, Alon, Cassandra from Ziggy Media. And I have a wonderful people that are behind the scenes you don't see. Although I do this call every week by myself because I pride myself on being an army of one doing this sort of thing, so I can teach all of you how to also be an army of one by leveraging what you have. And as Seth Godin said, you already have everything you need to build something far bigger than yourself. Yeah. Next up, we got, Michael, how are you, man? Michael from Sonoma, right? Michael wrote, Happy New Year, Chris. Hope you had a great time with family during your time away. So great to see you again. Likewise, thank you. Thank you. And God bless that father and two children that on the beach that just, I'm sure you saw the news. I was praying for them. Yeah. But great to see you, buddy. Thank you. And remember, your charity that you started, God bless you. Every single student you have and everybody involved with your charity get all of my courses for free forever. Yeah, you're doing great things. Thank you. Okay, next up we have Danielle, who's saying, hi, Chris. Hope you're doing well. Likewise. I had the following questions from you since the winter holidays. Sorry if it's a bit of a pileup. No worries at all. And by the way, we have about 12 minutes left. If I don't answer your questions, and there's usually a big backlog, just copy them and then paste them. Ask me again next week or every Thursday at 8 a.m. Yeah. Okay. So the first question here is, are growth index funds worth the expense ratio of 0.5% to 0.6%, but usually with a higher return? Yeah. So I usually don't like investing in any ETF or index fund that has an expense ratio above 0.5%. And you wrote here, they usually have a higher return. You're writing usually because probably over the past year or so, given the fact that a lot of crappy stocks have gone up a lot because we've been in a bull market, a lot of garbage has gone up. And one of the reasons is because of hedge fund short covering, giving up on shorting the market. Yeah. So I would look at a longer term basis on these funds, and never put more than 5% of your liquid net worth in any one fund or stock for that matter. And I teach portfolio management in my courses and MBA programs too. Okay, next question is robo advisors or indexing or mimicking a famous investor to follow the return and without paying the management fee. Okay, for a person who doesn't have much time to do the research. Okay, so you're saying, should I get robo advisors? I don't believe in that. I mean, they might just look at your portfolio and give you rudimentary or basic feedback like, hey, you have more than 5% in this one stock. I think you can use common sense and take my courses if you want. Take my complete personal finance course. That'll help you out a lot. And if you're not happy, you get your money back. 100% money back guarantee. You got nothing to lose. But I do believe, though, in index funds if you don't have time to do the research yourself. Yeah. And don't ever buy a stock yourself without first writing an investment research report, which is what I teach in my courses and my MBA degree programs, too. Yeah. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll sell at the worst time when it goes down. And as Warren Buffett said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. The psychology is fascinating of the markets. You got to buy when there's blood in the streets. And I know it's kind of a harsh thing to say. It is a saying on Wall Street, but you got to be contrarian, or otherwise you'll never make money. You got to be, as Warren Buffett said, you got to be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. Next question is, Nikki is saying hello. Hey, Nikki. Danielle is saying, what's the best way to diversify across index funds? Growth, large cap, or small cap, or REITs. It all depends on your investment preferences and your age. So there's this is kind of old school, but there's this rule where you take 100 minus your age to determine how much risk you should take. And it's an old rule because a lot of people are living older than 100 now. But the way it works is this. If you're 20, then 100 minus 20 is 80. That means 80% of your investments can be in higher risk or maybe growth investments. 20% in low risk. If you're 95, 100 minus 95 is 5. That means that 5% of your investment should be in higher risk or growthy investments, and 95% should be in low risk AAA rated bonds, for example. Yeah. But if you take my MBA degree programs or my complete personal finance course, I talk more about diversification there as well. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Albus is saying, please share some ideas on how we can get more visitors, clicks, views on our Udemy courses. Thanks a lot. Yeah. I think that, so your first one or two courses will not do as well as your 5th, 6th, and 7th courses. Just keep at it. Keep at it. Don't give up or be discouraged if your first couple courses aren't selling. And like for me, I unpublished most of my early courses, a lot of them at least, because they aren't as good as my later stuff. It's kind of like, and I'll never put myself in the same camp as the Beatles or any performer, but if you look at the earlier Beatles records, they weren't as well thought out. They were in mono, not stereo. George Martin, I don't think, produced them at that point. And then there's more breadth and depth to the stuff they wrote in the late 60s with Abbey Road and, of course, Sgt. Pepper's, etc. But the early stuff was not as great. And that's how I think about earlier courses that I've made or other people have made relative to the most recent ones. And you can learn a lot, too, from looking at my mistakes. So on Udemy, I have a couple courses on how to teach online that you can get for free based on mistakes I've made. Let me show you them, because everybody's got something to teach. I don't get any brownie points with Udemy showing you what I'm going to show you now. It's just an algorithm. If my course sucks, which many of them do, they won't sell. So give me 1 second. Yeah, good. So let me go to new incognito window, do a search on Udemy, my name, I guess. Yeah. So the courses, you can just go to my page on Udemy. The first one I recommend taking is called 40 Tips on Making a Great Online Course. And it's based on 40 mistakes I've made teaching online so that you can work smarter, not harder. And then I did a follow-up as well, and I'm not very creative, so I don't know what to call it. So I called it another 40 tips. Where is it? It should be here somewhere. Another 40 tips on how to create a great online course. What? Did I miss it, guys? Did you see it? Oh, here it is here. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. So it's called Another 40 Tips on How to Make a Great Online Course. This one's over, it's 4 hours long, it's whatever. And so you've got 40 plus 40, which is 80 tips on how to make a great online course based on 80 mistakes that I've made teaching. So you can work smarter, not harder. Yeah. But we all have something to teach. I promise you. I promise you. Yeah. So hopefully that will help you in terms of, other than that, just take care of the customer. You know, it's if you treat the student like they're the customer and you walk through walls for them, it'll work out for you longer term. It always does. You know, Jeff Bezos has said that a company is only as good as its customer service. And if you treat your customers right, then everything else will fall into place. And you got to do it because you love doing it too. It can't be about making money. You just got to keep at it and add as much value as you can. And if you want to make courses similar to mine, what I recommend you do is go to my courses and go to the reviews and filter by 1-star reviews, meaning the worst reviews. There's tons of them, I promise. And find out why people say my courses suck. And then just create better versions based on that feedback. And that's what I refer to as educational Darwinism. And I love it because the winner ultimately is the student. Competition is good for the consumers too. Yeah. All right. Next up, Hisham, how are you, man? I mentioned you earlier in the call, buddy. How are you? Hisham is one of my my wonderful employees or part-timers that works with me. And so what Hisham does is he's amazing. And he's one of my former San Francisco State University students, smart guy. And he used to sit, I remember you sat in the front row, not all the way on the right, but one table over. I remember that years ago. Yeah, good dude. Which is why we're working together. And Hisham is the guy that creates the YouTube write-up always. So every week, one day after this is done, this call, what he does is he actually writes down all the questions in the description field. Oh my God, I talk a lot. Good to see you, bud. So Hisham said, happy belated New Year, Chris. Likewise, brother. May this year bring us lots of love, joy, and prosperity. Likewise. Quick question. Do you think Bitcoin will dip anytime soon or continue to rally? I'm planning to buy some. Yeah. So the best way for me to answer that is with every investment, tell yourself, I will always get a chance to buy this lower. And we should all, and I'm speaking to myself, we should all be careful of FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Yeah. Always be patient and buy when other people are screwing up. And speaking of screwing up, you could see here that like these are not level here. I doctored it, and now I'm wearing a shirt. You can tell. So now I have to sit kind of sideways now. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'd wait for in general, generically speaking, I think it makes sense to always be patient. Read between the lines. Next up, Danielle is saying, do you believe the market is overvalued as a growth investor as of now? If so, what sector are you focusing on? Yeah. I do believe the market is overvalued. I believe it's run up a lot. And I don't buy stocks when everyone else wants to, because there's not that many incremental investors. My favorite thing to do is to buy broken stocks, not broken companies. So that's what I look for. Yeah. So I was buying a lot back in March, over a year ago, whatever. It felt so uncomfortable, dude. And that's when you know it's a good time to buy. But when it feels so easy to buy, like today, I don't buy. That's just me. It's kind of like real estate. I remember I bought my first apartment in New York City after 9/11. And it felt so uncomfortable doing that. But that's when you buy. Because when it feels uncomfortable, other people aren't doing it. But you got to be very long-term focused too. Very long-term focused. Yeah. And never be just a tourist in a stock. Don't rent stocks. Be an owner longer term. Yeah. And don't rely on anyone's advice. Always do your own research. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if I and Rose, this is Rose's shirt. It's not your shirt. It's a problem. It's me the way I've set it up. So I'll sit like this. How's that? I look like Pee Wee Herman, right? Okay. And I'll never tell my students what to buy. My role humbly is not to give you a fish. It's to teach you how to fish. Yeah. Yeah. All right, and I got to wrap this up in about a minute. It's 11 a.m. now, but let me take a couple more questions. Okay. Loving Literacy is saying, I'm saving up for the treadmill now. I need it. Can you tell me the name of the treadmill you use? I was saving up for one called GoPro on Amazon. It's my call to tell me to wrap this up. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So I'll show you the one I bought, actually. Let me go there. And as always, I've got nothing to hide. I'm fully transparent with my students. So let me go here to Amazon. Orders. Yeah. And by the way, if on your diet you want chips, get these. They're a little bit pricey, but I don't drink. What the hell? Right? It's all protein in these chips. There's like hardly any carbs, right? Yeah, and just dip it in Greek yogurt. And you'll get protein. It'll taste the same too. So treadmill, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I bought a couple. There's one here I bought. The one I'm using here, 2019, and they actually changed the branding of it. It's a company called Rhythm Fun. And this one arrived recently, so I've got one upstairs as well. So here it is here. Yeah, this is it. It's really, really simple. It's narrow as well. It's cheaper than other ones because there's no bars on the side. I like my desk. And you can put it under your couch here as well. So let me show you. They should really have a picture of a couch because you can roll it under the couch upstairs, which is what I do with the other one. Here it is here on the very bottom. I'm covering up my face. Actually, let me go here and show you as well because you probably care about that. Okay, right here. Yeah. So it can go underneath the couch as well. It's got wheels. Yeah, so that's the one I use. It is awesome. Dude, you don't realize that you're exercising when you're using it, which is great. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, let me see here. All right, and I'm supposed to wrap this up right now, but let me go a little bit longer. Jose is saying, hi, Chris and everyone. Just dropping by on the job now. Awesome. I'm listening to your webcast during dead time and turning it into growth time. And your amazing content. Thank you. Appreciate that. God bless you. By the way, if you work for a company and they give you one of these things, if you have the personal budget for it, I want you to buy the exact same one. Why? Because companies can fire you for any reason they want to. If they look through, they can just find a reason, right? Maybe you're checking, I don't know, stock quotes or Facebook during working hours. I think it's just good to have your own. And also, if you wanted to use your lap, if you work for a schmuck that believes in FaceTime and keeps you away from your family at night, just to sit there, whatever, then I want you to write your business plan on your laptop, and I want you to use your personal version of this to share Wi-Fi or a personal hotspot, if you're allowed to. Read between the lines there. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, great. So there's a ton more questions here. I see. I'm so sorry I won't be able to get to any of them. There's a gazillion today. Thank you. We had 100 people on the call earlier. It's nice. Thank you all for the support. So copy your questions. If you're one of my gold or platinum MBA degree students, you can ask me in about 15 minutes on the gold and platinum MBA only office hours call. Go to the calendar. You guys all have the password and stuff to get to it. Starts at 11:20 my time. It goes 2 hours until 1:20. And if you're not one of my students, just copy your questions. Ask me again next week. at 8 a.m. every Thursday. God bless y'all. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'll see you every day at 9 a.m. And that's when my YouTube vlogs drop, yo. If not, God bless y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I'll see you all next Thursday. And thank you.